Well, hello there, everybody. What are the odds that you can hear me this time? Are we good? Am I saying words that are understandable? Vamp Blossom, I'd like to thank you for the 7-month resub. Good evening. Welcome to my kitchen. I have admitted defeat with the overhead light today. I haven't set anything else up, so we're just gonna be real shiny when we're standing here, and then dark everywhere else. It's fine. Mocha XCII, thank you very much for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. And today we can hear excellent. I had flashbacks to last month. Today we are whipping out the trusty World of Warcraft cookbook and flipping right to the baking section. It probably has a fancier name than that. There's all sorts of really cute section names. Desserts, or the way of the sweet, which sounds weird out of the context of the Pandaria cooking tiers. Anyways. Over on page 157, we have, I feel like I'm leading a class, like, all right now kids, open your books and make sure to listen, put both feet on the floor, and don't look anywhere but directly ahead. There's a reason I never went into education. Oh man, how you guys doing today? How is your Thursday going? I'm flipping because apparently I don't know how to find page 157, like a bad student, and there's just so much other like really delicious looking stuff in here that I'm getting sidetracked and distracted. We've made the brownies. We've made the mana strudels. I think we've actually made the cinnamon buns before. We may have conjured mana buns, but we've been doing the baking stream for a couple of years now. There's gonna be some repeats, and the dream is that I get better at them. I don't know if that's going to be the life, but that's the life that we all aspire to. So this is a yeasted recipe, meaning it's going to take a bit of time. We're going to be making a dough, allowing it, and then we're going to knead it, and then we're going to allow it to rise. It says about an hour. In the interest of time, I may abbreviate that somewhat. It says until double in size, so we'll see what we can do. Maybe we should do it in the Instant Pot. That always proves things really quickly. And we are going to be basically making cinnamon buns, but you know, mana buns, because that's one of the tiers of mage food. Just in time. Can I get a hall pass? Bye stream, gotta go get my teeth mangled. Good luck to you. I wish you the very best. Hope it goes well. Buns indeed. So I should move quickly because, like I said, it's gonna have to rest for at least 45 minutes, if not an hour. So we should probably get it rolling here. I just didn't 100% finish cleaning my kitchen before I started, and I have, I don't think it's a problem. I think it's just good sense, but I don't like starting a project with a messy workspace. I need to clean up all existing mess, and then I can make a new tornado hurricane. Like, I just one at a time. I cannot have mess compounding upon additional mess or previous mess. Otherwise, it's just a sign that I'm slowly falling further and further behind in life, and I will never again catch up. So this guy goes up here, and then, ooh, we might make some tea later. This should be, well, no, that's not quite done. Almost. These, I say as I put this away like that's important. It's really not. And quick rinse of the sinks. I have these little grate things that I put in my sinks because I water, like, we really only have the kitchen sink. I guess there's a bathroom sink too, but that's, you know, it's a bowl. It's not really a good place to be watering plants. So whenever I'm watering a plant, I will throw those down, or actually if I'm doing aquarium water changes is the other good time. I'll throw down the little grates over the sink because the potting soil that I use has a good amount of perlite in it, and it's not a very hard stone, but it's hard enough that you don't really want to be washing it down your sink, and they're large enough that they cause issues with the garbage disposal, so I always try to put those down, but then you have to, like, remember to take them out and clean them, but it's better than getting your pipes wrecked. I learned that the hard way the first time I did a water change on a gravel aquarium without thinking about it too carefully, and it turns out it takes a long time to individually pick pieces of aquarium gravel out of a garbage disposal. And even though it's off and it's not about to turn on and nobody's turning it on, I do not care for having my hands down there in any capacity at any time. Okay. Microwave camera. Tripping out because I've lived in a place with the exact same countertop cabinets and fridge. I'm pretty sure a lot of places around Portland were built very quickly and all at the same time by like one really rich person. So I wouldn't be surprised if all of this was bought in just like mega bulk. Yeah, pulling things out of the garbage disposal has to be done sometimes. I wear gloves as though that would help. If it somehow gets haunted and turns on, it's not like my rubber dishwashing glove is going to do me the slightest bit of good, but it makes me feel better. I'm going to need milk, which we will need to warm, and I think I've done this before because I remember over-warming the milk in the past, and that's not great, so I'm going to try and not do that. Milk, sugar, let's just get out everything that we need for the dough. So we're going to need milk, sugar, brown sugar specifically, yeast, butter, an egg, salt, and some flour. So I have my beloved giant flour container. I have a similar one for brown sugar. And then yeast is in here. And then an egg. I got eggs. You got eggs? I got eggs. There's an egg. And what else did I say? Butter. We're going to need a stick of butter. We're going to need some salt and some milk. And it doesn't say what kind of milk. Let's just use a little bit of that salt. It doesn't say what kind of milk, but I feel like I've tried making, I've in the past tried making bread products that have milk as their liquid using whole milk, and the extra fat makes it delicious, but also I think it interferes with the rest of the process because it never turns out quite right. So unless it calls for full fat milk, I think I'm just going to use the skim. I'm going to need to melt a cup of butter, I'm going to need to warm a cup of milk, and I'm using the microwave for both things because this is the life of folks with, you know, normal amounts of time. I'd say not enough time. You have just as much time as anybody else. That's a real mind bender when you think about it. I have just as much time in my day as, like, Jeff Bezos has in his. And, you know, there's some toddler somewhere going to kindergarten for the first time, and they have the same amount of time in their day. It's wild. Okay, I'm going to need to combine milk and sugar, and then dissolve in the yeast, and the, well, butter and eggs. So let's melt the butter. This is a half a cup of butter. I need to melt this. Let's put it in a bowl and microwave it in very short intervals, or maybe for a longer time but at a lower power, which will accomplish the same thing. I've exploded my fair share of butter in the microwave to hopefully not do this wrong. So I'm going to say let's do 2 minutes, but only at like 30% power, and I'll keep an eye on that. And by keep an eye on that, I mean I'll need to keep an eye on that. We're not really going to do that because we have other things to measure. So we're going to get a big bowl, and I think because I need to warm this milk, I'm going to just do this whole thing in... Am I putting all 4 cups of flour in here? I think I am. Let's just grab the big boy bowl, and we'll microwave that with the milk, and that should warm it, but not for very long because I've overwarmed milk in the past, and then you have to wait for your milk to cool down, and it's an awkward thing to explain to somebody when they're like, why are you sitting on the floor of your kitchen doing nothing? Okay, 3/4 of a cup. I'm just gonna measure 1/4 of a cup 3 times because nobody ever told me I couldn't. 1. I don't hear any exploding sounds, so that's a good sign. 2. The nice thing is that I'm smart enough to have a handle on most of the kitchen mistakes that could end my life. I'm probably not going to accidentally do something that's going to literally kill me. So outside of that, you know, you gotta break some eggs to make some muffins, but that's not what we're doing today. So we're gonna warm this up. We're gonna add a half a cup of brown sugar. So I should get my cup ready for that. It'll be a tablespoon of yeast. Butter looks a little sad in there, but it still sticks, so it's coming along. And then here, I'll pre-measure a half a teaspoon of salt. How's that for preparing? Maybe not this one then. We're gonna here. I decided today I didn't end up setting up my counter cam. I have an extra webcam that I can plug in, and I still can do that if you guys really want like a close-up on the rolling process. But I figure a lot of Mana Buns is not, we're not especially decorating them. So we can do that a little later on. We'll have plenty of time for me to go fishing around looking for webcams. that, almost perfect. I'm going to say another 45 seconds on cook power 40. Let's try that. So I'm looking for a half a teaspoon. These are color-coded, and it doesn't help me. It's never once have I been like, oh yeah, that's the purple one, let's go find that one. Half a teaspoon of salt. I have this, I've been on a real kick of recontainering things into unbranded multi-use containers. So there's not too many things that I use regularly that I still use out of their original thing. And I think I need to come up with a thing for salt, because trying to pour/scoop out of this style of lid drives me absolutely bananas. Because you can't fit anything in it, and it doesn't pour good because the plastic's still in there, and there has to be a better way. Oh man, much shinier? What's shinier? Is this always in HD? The Holiday Brownie stream? I'm using the same camera that I have for the last couple of them. It should be the same setup as the Brownie stream, unless I had some issue then. I for one of these was experimenting with different lighting setups, and this is the one where I've said, whatever, I'm not going to worry about it in this place. So, and by that I mean I didn't leave myself enough time to go fish the ring light out of the closet. I decided it was not that important. Okay, so that's butter. I need to make this milk warm milk, but it's not that much milk. We're not going to do a minute. I'm going to do like 35 seconds. And then I'm going to ascertain its effective temperature using the time-old method of poking it with a clean finger. You know, I'm not a monster. So yeah, I just end up like shaking and being like, well, that's probably about half a teaspoon. It's somewhere in the neighborhood. It'll be fine. Hey. Salt container on my list. Okay, so that's flour. We're gonna need those for the yeast in a second here. I'm gonna grab an extra scoop of flour just while I'm here, because I'm probably gonna end up needing it for kneading. All right, and let me take out my milk. That's warm milk. That might be a little too warm. I don't have a thermometer that will help me with that, but it's in a fairly large bowl. It has lots of its surface area exposed to air, and it is about 70-ish degrees in here, so it should cool down to a yeast-appropriate temperature shortly. The only danger with that is you don't want to kill your yeast, and then I suppose if it's overly warm, you might end up in a situation where it's developing too fast, but I'm making cinnamon buns. I'm not trying to win a bread competition, which is good because I'm not qualified for that. They make salt wells. Wells? That sounds fun. A salt cellar. They make great resealable containers we use for everything. The OXO containers are pretty nifty. I have a lot of snapware, but I buy a lot of the OXO Good Grip stuff for just like kitchen tools. If I need a can opener, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll get that one. Although now that I say that, I think the can opener is KitchenAid, but anyways. Okay, so once that's cooled down, we're going to add sugar. Actually, I can dissolve the sugar in it now because that's just dissolving sugar, and that will go better when it's warm. It will also bring the temperature down a small amount. So I need a half a cup of sugar, which, good grief. I guess we're not making dinner here. Half a cup of sugar. And with brown sugar, I should really look up the weight because it compacts so much. And most recipes I knew were always like, yeah, just really pack it in there. See how much sugar you can fit into your scoop. And I feel like that's going to produce a wildly different measurement depending on how committed you are to sugar. Okay, I'm going to put this away. I'm going to grab a spoon. Maybe a big wooden one. That's kind of fun. And we're going to stir the warm milk with the brown sugar in it, and this is starting to look a lot like the dregs of my breakfast as a child. I was a big fan of brown sugar on cereal. The Cheerios and the Corn Flakes are all just coming screaming back to me. Not necessarily in a pleasant way. Also, this is an outrageous amount of sugar. Oh man, Teha, thank you very much for the 8-month Tier 2 resub. What a hero. Hope you've been doing well. Also, I missed from Crustacean, a brand new sub, I think. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. Is cinnamon made of manna? I don't see any reason why not, but you just gave me a horrible thought. I did make a note on my Monday page, my Monday planner page. Monday's my grocery list day. I did make a note, because I knew I was going to be making the grocery list, to include any extra ingredients that I need for this recipe. I don't know if I remember to actually take heed of my own note, because I was, okay, no, good. I have cinnamon. Okay, I have fresh cinnamon. I I know I was out recently and I couldn't remember if I bought more, but it's good. We're fine. We're okay. So I have some extremely sweet milk. We're going to add our yeast, butter, egg, salt, and then flour. So let's go ahead with the yeast. That is now officially barely even warm anymore, so that's definitely come down a lot. I'm probably gonna prove this in the Instant Pot. I don't see why not. Also, I'm tempted to turn the monitor to get a different angle, but that's not how life works. Let's try that. There we go. How much yeast? We are using 1 tablespoon of yeast. And I'm gonna be honest with you, and you guys might give me a hard time over this. I don't really know the difference between active dry and instant yeast. I believe there is a difference. Also, a tablespoon's a whole lot. I've always used them interchangeably, and while I have on occasion had issues with my recipes, I don't have any reason to believe that that's the cause. You know, there's lots of ways for me to mess up, so that's most of a tablespoon, and oh god, there's a little bit more of it. I always feel bad when I spill yeast because it's like alive, you know? You know, it's not just a mess, it's also carnage. I see no nutmeg, what is this? This recipe doesn't even use nutmeg, and that's not to say that we couldn't get adventurous later. It's the icing that's got the mana, you fools. Cooking stream, neat. Hazel, did you ever do the cinnamon challenge? No, I want to stand here and tell you that I am immune to peer pressure when it comes to doing stupid stuff. I feel like that will reflect poorly on me later because it would be naive of me to assume that I'm never going to do something dumb for peer pressure. But that one was pretty dumb. That was a pretty goofy thing for no discernible reason. Like, at least the ice bucket challenge was raising money for charity. Who benefited from the cinnamon challenge? Maybe they tacked a charity on later. I hope they did. But when I remember it, it was just a bunch of people sneezing violently on camera. Okay, we're going to add the butter and the egg, and we're going to stir, and then the salt, and then the flour. So I have my bowl of melted butter, which is not something that you see every day outside of baking, just because you can't even really see the color of it. It's very yellow. My bowls are kind of like a minty green, and they don't look good together. So there's some milky, yeasty butter. And then we're gonna, I'm gonna whisk the egg before I stir it in, because I feel like it's gonna be hard to whisk in there, so I'm just gonna like break it into this bowl, and then give that a real quick bout of violence, and then we'll be mixing that in there, and then the salt, and then the flour, and then we're gonna knead it about 5 minutes. I should also grease my bowl. If I'm just doing it in the Instant Pot, I can probably just take like a little bit of oil, or butter even. Probably butter. Is it not true? I say this, I don't know. You're not expected to answer. I feel like I should be matching the oil that I use to grease things to the type of thing that I'm making. When I was growing up, I just used olive oil for everything. I would cook my eggs in olive oil, I would use it to grease cookie sheets, I would do everything with olive oil because it was just cheap and we had it. And nothing was particularly olivey, but as I get older, I start to increasingly question the weird things I did in my youth. Martha Stewart's new hair is fire. Yeah, she really got more adventurous. Oh, pardon me, I really got more adventurous after the prison sentence. I've heard it stated, and I do agree, that you won't really have your full perspective on life until you have been involuntarily incarcerated in some kind of way. It'll really give you a new perspective on freedom. Cooking, also a fan of your gnome. Welcome, Anacorus. Yeah, we're working through well, I say we're working through the WoW cookbook as though we're gonna like hit every recipe. That's not true. There's a lot of recipes. Most of them are not veggie, and most of them are like, you know, dinner stuff, like roasts and soup and stuff. So that would be a different kind of cooking stream. I feel like it would be less fun. I feel like part of the joy of the food stream is I need you guys to live vicariously through me at least a little bit. And while I'm not an expert at making this stuff, you know, if I make a slightly wonky mana bun, I feel like that's way cuter than if I just make some weird soup. And I'm like, here guys, look at this weird soup. And you're gonna be like, great, it's got fish and an apple. While that may still be good, less camera friendly. Not that this is particularly camera friendly. This is not camera friendly. Okay. So I am going to add in the egg now, and then the salt, and then we're going to start measuring in our flour. I could have put the flour into a separate bowl, but regrets, you know? Fish and apples. I'd watch the weird fish apple soup. I don't think it's actually that weird. There legitimately is a recipe in the WoW cookbook for fish apple soup. I believe they call it Yuping soup. I think it also has chicken in it. I wouldn't make it with chicken if I was making it, but yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued. It kind of sounds good. If I didn't hate soup from such a core part of my being, I would probably have made it by now. So I'm looking for 4.5 cups of flour. So I'm not going to weigh because I don't remember off the top of my head how many grams a cup of flour is, and I'm just gonna, we're just gonna live our lives the way I did up until I discovered that scales were important. You know, we didn't use them in my home ec class in 7th grade, and our tuna melts turned out fine. In hindsight, tuna melts did not involve baking per se, so then that's 4. You're supposed to like mix as you go, but I want to be done with this measuring stage, so I'm just going to put it all in there and then figure my life out. This has sugar in it though, so I'm going to rinse this. Are these pure mana buns or health and mana buns? These buns are not good for your health. These will not do anything good for you. And I've started reading another nutrition book, so heaven help me. Love the apron. Why, thank you. Sounds like Murloc fin soup. We are adulting vicariously through you while we are still in the unpacking process. I want to unpack vicariously through you. Did you moved? You got a place? I'm jealous. I'm in one of those moods lately where I just really want to build some furniture, you know? And not like in a surprising hidden talent carpentry kind of way. That's a later life goal of mine, but just in like a, you know, going over to somebody's place and then helping them put together their new IKEA stuff. Except that I am unable to collaborate on any kind of an IKEA building process. If I'm going to be part of an IKEA building party, I need to claim ownership over one piece of furniture, and nobody else can touch it unless I ask for help. I don't know how people... Oh, I forgot the salt. I don't know how people work with others. It's a skill that I wasn't good at in school. Group projects were group projects, and they were just as uncomfortable for me as anybody else. And then I got out of school, and then I was pitted against my colleagues in a commission sales environment. And now I do this, so I never really learned how to be a productive member of a team, except for maybe in jazz band, and even then, I was just trying to be a soloist. I was kind of a jerk. So this is supposed to come together into a dough, and onto my floor. That's fine. I have raid tonight, so I can't make the world's biggest mess, but I can make a medium mess. And no matter what happens, I'm gonna have mana buns to get me through raid night. Oh boy, I am warm. I know that when it's like a summer day, you'd make fun of the kids that were wearing all black because it absorbs heat, like white reflects and black absorbs, so you get warmer wearing black clothing. And I don't think that really, like, in theory, that wouldn't apply indoors, right? We're gonna just make this come together and then turn it out and start kneading it. We need to knead it until it is a cohesive dough that bounces back when poked, because that's really how you test things in the kitchen, is you just start poking them. I'm going to resist the urge to make another buns pun. Okay. It smells good. I mean, it mostly just smells like brown sugar, but I feel like brown sugar doesn't get enough love. Like, sure, it's sugar, so maybe it doesn't need any more love. I don't think most of us need to incorporate more of it into our lives, but if you're given a choice between white and brown sugar, and it's not a matter of consistency or the way it's going to cook up, and it's just a matter of flavor, who's choosing white sugar over brown sugar? Like, brown sugar has depth, it has nuance, it's warm, it's friendly, it's invited you in for an afternoon cup of tea, and you don't even know it that well, but it's okay, because their parents are home. White sugar, it's so boring, man. There's like nothing going on there. How did Ny'alotha go last night? It was good. So we started normal. We're a heroic guild, but we always clear normal first. And we made it through, I had to count retroactively, 7 bosses. I only know that because we have 5 left. And we made it through basically like the easy bosses. And then the, how much am I supposed to knead this? Knead until it bounces back when poked under 5 minutes. Because this feels, it's not really, it's more of a, it doesn't really feel like a stretchy dough. So we're not bouncing back yet. I think we're getting there. But yeah, Nyalotha was really good. I don't think that my raid meters are going to be necessarily indicative of the wider class balance scheme, but so many people have come to me being like, Shadow Priests have been nerfed, what are we gonna do? And I understand the panic, you know, but Shadow Priests are gonna be just fine. We're gonna be just fine. I mean, I was not struggling. Alright. Yeah, close enough. We're not trying to make these, we're not trying to make like a super chewy bread. Maybe a little more. Yeah, no, we're gonna be fine. We have a bunch of them in our, we have 3 now in our guild now for the first time. We have 3 Shadow Priests. We've only ever had 2 before. So I have some competition. They're gonna keep me on my toes. I love having other classes of the same, other people the same spec in the raid, because it's a great barometer for when I'm being lazy. If somebody starts like seriously outperforming me, then I'm like, oh no, I'm doing something wrong. And then I have to like go figure it out. Whereas if I'm the only one, I can just be like, well, c'est la vie. You ever get so thirsty that you just like down such a large amount of water that you feel kind of sloshy, but you were so thirsty and it's so good? I put a single ice cube. I'm gonna put this into greased Instant Pot. I'm gonna close the lid, and I'm gonna put it on yogurt because that's the one that people say proves bread. It shouldn't get too hot. I'm gonna check that after about 25 minutes and see if it's doubled in size or not. Ooh, you know what I should do is I'm gonna take a picture of it, because I'm always like, I don't know if it doubled in size. I don't remember 20 minutes ago. Oh, calm down. And then, but this way, here, hand for scale. Now I'll know. Oh. I hate when my appliances talk back to me. Like, I know they have important and valid things to say, but I respect people. I respect animals. I respect most plants. Robots do not have me yet. They probably will. I will probably be campaigning for robot rights before the end of my lifetime. But right now, they don't get to talk back. Love the Alliance apron. Why, thank you. I'm usually the only red paladin in any group I'm in. About to eat chicken tortilla soup for my dinner meal. Buzzard Barbecue, thank you very much for the 3-month reset. Oh man, so I need to fix this. I need to clean this up. Our plan, basically, we are going to let that rise, and then once it's risen, we're going to, what are we going to do? Roll it out, spread the filling evenly over it. We're going to need to make that by mixing butter, flour, brown sugar, cinnamon. No walnuts. There's walnuts in the recipe, but we're going to skip that because of allergies. And then roll it into a tube, slice into 1 inch, place them into muffin tins, allow it to rise for another 20 minutes. Then we're going to bake them for 20 minutes, make the glaze, glaze them, and then call it a day. I think maybe we haven't done these on stream before, because this is one of those recipes I feel like I would have avoided on behalf of it having a lot of rest time. I try to choose recipes that don't have a ton of downtime, because sometimes I run out of things to do. However, for now I need to clean up. At some point I want to make some tea. I haven't had any extra tea yet today. And can pull up a chair. We can talk about Nyalotha. Part of me wanted to also make a carrot cake, because I keep putting it on the poll and nobody ever votes for carrot cake. And I trust the word of Patreon goes. However, I think that you guys just don't understand carrot cake. I think that You hear carrots and you think vegetables, and that's not what carrot cake is about. So if I can ever double it into another stream where I make the thing that I promised to make you, and that's fine. I wonder if my phone will remember. I have a picture in here of the last one I made, and it was like years ago. 10 photos of cake. I must have made manna buns before. That doesn't look right, though. I have this photo on my phone. I'll show you. I have this photo. That is from 2017. And that is clearly this countertop. And that's clearly manna buns. They're very spirally, but they don't look very fluffy, do they? Are they supposed to be fluffy manna buns? No, I guess they're not really supposed to be that fluffy. There's the photo. They're fairly rigid. We also have the brownies. I tend to keep just one photo of each thing that I've made, and then I find myself just looking back over things that I baked in like 2016. You know, at one point we made these cupcakes on the baking stream. At one point we made cupcakes, and then we gave them like really cute, pretty pink icing. I know you can barely see that. And I'm like, man, I used to care. And then I have a photo of like really mangled cake pops, but that's not the one I'm looking for. There's a cheesecake. That's not right. Anyways, I guess the photo basically just looks like a giant pile of cream cheese frosting because it was just a 2-layer cake. And it was just like cream cheese frosting, and it was a carrot cake, but it was like really moist and delicious. And also, I had never had a tiered one before that had 2 levels to it. I had always had carrot cake that was just flat in a pan. And while I appreciate the simplicity of a good pan bake and a nice square piece of cake, it just screams office party to me, you know? Or lovely administrative assistant brought this to school because none of the moms wanted to, that kind of thing. Was there an explosion in the kitchen, or did you apply the frosting that way on purpose? Wow. Polls for baking streams are a Patreon perk. I don't have many of them, but that is one of them. Anybody that supports on Patreon in any amount can vote in the monthly baking stream polls. I put the polls out usually last week of the month, so I need to start the next one pretty soon, and then I announce the winners. Let's see, I was thinking of getting that carrot cake for my birthday. What about carrot soup and fish apple cake? Oh boy. Apple cake, you kind of had me. I've had some good coffee cakes, like apple infused, like a cinnamon apple coffee cake situation. I feel like I should be doing magic, which is weird because rubber gloves are not a magic accessory. I'm gonna need more flour, so I'm gonna leave that out, but we're going to basically gather up the rest of our dishes. I'll leave that out too. And clean up, and I may at some point run the vacuum over here because there is flour on the floor, and I am going to track that everywhere. In the summer it would be one thing, but it's winter and it's pouring outside. It has been very, very rainy. So whenever you go outside, you bring in water that just kind of comes off you. Did you get the cookbook on Amazon or the gear store? I think I bought mine on the Amazon. The river. I went there, no. Amazon, because I have Prime. Hashtag Prime subs, I suppose. I have Prime, and it's cheaper. I don't know why, but the cookbooks are cheaper on Amazon. I think I bought all 3 of them that way. I bought the Overwatch one, I bought the Hearthstone one, and I also bought the WoW one. All on Amazon. Especially because I will tell you, maybe they can change my mind. Or maybe my tastes are just changing as I get older. Or maybe I finally reached critical mass where I realized I own enough WoW merch. But I don't care for the new gear store. It is not, it feels desperate, you know? Like, you go there and it's like 20% off before midnight and deal ends, and you just know these deals are going to be like rolling over and over and over again because there's always something. And I don't like it. I don't want it. I haven't bought anything except for Dottie since they switched. And I don't think I will. I'm like, plushies, sure, but outside of that, I think I'm going to pretty much chill. Also, I think part of it is that I'm at a point in my life where I have enough clothes. I certainly don't need any more. And and not only not enough clothes, but like I felt like if I was going to go shopping for new things to wear, I have enough WoW shirts. I have enough nerd merch to last me until the apocalypse. And one one cotton men's cut WoW logo shirt is very much like another, and they're great. I love them. I'm wearing one right now. This is the Blackout logo. You can barely tell, but there's a WoW logo on there. But I think I got enough. You know, they last a long time. Tea cake, if only that was a thing. Tea cake sounds like a thing. I've also seen some people on like baking shows use tea flavors as a method of flavoring various desserts, mostly icing. We did that one thing. What did we do? We were making something and we needed to food color an icing. We were making the Seafarers doubloons. Why did I need to dye them? I remember very little of that baking stream. It was a wild one. We made doubloons and I wanted to dye them and I only had like pink and green dye. So instead I tried to use sprinkles. We tried to melt sprinkles to create food dye. And then that wasn't really working and I wanted something to try and color it more. So then I mega steeped like 10 bags of tea and then used that to infuse the icing because we were trying to color this icing somehow. And the color was awful, but it smelled really good because I used like a honey lemon ginseng tea. And I remember thinking, man, I'm gonna have to do this for icing again, but just not for the color because the color looks hideous. It was not appetizing. Was that the doubloon stream? I don't know, man. Months come and months go, and all of them have a baking stream in them. And sometimes they're strange. Oh, man. What kind of recipes are in the Overwatch book? Lots of international recipes, I feel like, is the theme with that one. Because the heroes of Overwatch and the different maps are so tied to real geographic locations, they've tried to really lean into the birthplaces of their various characters and give you a lot of European recipes. There's some Asian recipes, there's some African recipes that are based on the character, or not based on the characters, but something that the character might have eaten, basically. So you end up, like, all of the pages have like a little flavor blurb on them, and they all kind of read like, this was X character's favorite thing as a child, or this character doesn't really like this thing, but sometimes they still make it anyways, just because. You get a lot of that. But I haven't tried many of the recipes actually yet. I got the cookbook and then I kind of forgot about it. I have a bookshelf that I bought because I was like, I'm going to keep my books on a shelf. Revolutionary, I know. And I didn't keep very many books because most of my books I keep digitally now. I have digital versions of most of my favorite books. But one thing that I really wanted to keep was cookbooks, and then also like art books and display books and things like that. So I kept all my cookbooks and got a shelf to keep them on and made the mortal sin of not measuring. And my shelf is too short for all of my books. So I have to lay them flat and stack them up, which is just the worst thing ever. It's not good for the book. It doesn't look good. And it was a cheap bookshelf, and it's like one of those particle board veneer situations, and the backboard is only veneered on one side, and I mistakenly put that on the outside, meaning that the back of the shelves is just open particle board. It's a real mess. I've made some mistakes. But books at the bottom of the stack don't make it out very often. I should just replace that bookshelf. I don't want to get furniture until I move, but I've been saying that for a long time, and every now and then I just break and get some more furniture. I'm going to drag the vacuum cleaner in here to get some of the flour off the floor because I made a mess. I'll be right back. But I guess you can come with me because I am wearing a mobile microphone, and I don't know what the range on it is like. So you're going to find out. If I sound like beep, boop, ow, ah, wait, then you'll know that I'm like breaking out. But I'm coming back now, so it should be fine. Don't mind me. Okay. There's also an oat there. Don't note why. Oh boy. It's a good thing you can't see my face from that one. Sometimes I'm a lot to be in my head with. Oh boy. Does this book include actual meals? What do you mean meals? The Overwatch cookbook or the WoW cookbook? Get furniture you want, need, it can move too. Yeah, but then I'm gonna have to like pick it up and move it. Why is the sheep in the closet? No idea what you're talking about. Oh man, Yorkshire pudding is a tricksy one. That I've actually only made once, but it went surprisingly well for something that I only made once that I understood was supposed to be kind of tricky. They actually like rose a good bit. Cooking streams are the snow days of Hazel streams. Oh man, it is one where I get to make my tea without having to like get up and leave you guys, although I will probably go grab my stool. I have it like stashed in the closet because I don't really know where I keep it anymore, but I found out that I can put it in the closet behind the coats if I just move all the coats when I'm moving in or out. I see people online that have done the whole tiny house thing, and there must be some kind of innate appeal to tiny houses and the tiny house movement because it's so popular, and even people that don't live in one, they'll watch videos and consume content and seemingly aspire to it. I don't get it at all. I get the idea of only having what you need. That's very satisfying to me. To only have what I need and to need everything that I have. I like that. But I don't... The problem with having everything fold away in a really clever way is, sure, it's clever, but you can only have one thing folded out at once. So sometimes it may take several steps to get to things. I don't know. I feel like there's a happy medium there. I also would not want to live in like a mega mansion that's just like an insane amount of space that takes way too long to get anywhere. And just looks like weirdly empty, or you fill it with a bunch of stuff that you never use. That's no good. But there's got to be a middle way, and the middle way is probably just like a normal house. You know, the ones that everybody that has a house, I suppose, lives in. Stool. I, as a kid, and maybe this was just being a child, not before the internet, there was definitely the internet, but before personal devices became so ubiquitous. If I wanted to use the internet, I needed to get on the family computer. So that was a sometimes thing, not an all the time thing. I spent a lot of time as a child that I vividly remember paying attention to objects, you know, like very minutely inspecting a piece of furniture or a decor item or a carpet or a ceiling pattern or, you know, images that you find when you gaze at a stucco ceiling or wall. Or, you know, you lay on the floor and you look at the ceiling and you imagine what if the ceiling was the floor and, you know, where would you sit, that kind of thing. And over time, I think I kind of, and this is a little weird, but I think it's pretty harmless, developed this idea that objects that have a lot of attention paid to them kind of grow, I don't want to say in power because that makes me sound bananas, but they gain an extra value that is not a monetary value or a functional value. It's something, and I guess it's just a sentimental value, but it's not quite that because you don't need to always have it, but some amount of extra life happened there, if that makes any sense. So the idea of owning something that you are then going to forever neglect because you don't really need it, to me is very sad. It's like having a pet that you don't love and didn't really want that nobody ever pays attention to. And I understand objects are not animals and it is not inhumane to ignore your possessions, but I still feel like that void there. And then sometimes I wonder about what kind of value items in public have. You know, as kids, you'd always walk by the same tree. Maybe there's a particular telephone pole that's always got posters on it, and there's like somebody that walks by there every day that knows the different posters. Based on the traffic of any one outdoor area, you can kind of imagine the different things that different people have paid attention to, and what they might mean to different people in different contexts. I'm not making any sense because this is a concept that doesn't make any sense. It has no real use or value in the world, but that's what I was thinking about when I was talking about like big houses that have things in it. Oh man. Regular house, $1 million, tiny house, 50 grand. I take umbrance with the concept that all regular houses are $1 million. That's going to depend on where you live. Victoria, Vancouver, absolutely. Most places, not quite. But yeah, I guess they're a lot cheaper. Tiny houses seem awesome to me. Oh, man, I thought you said Mega Man Mansion. I hate the tiny house movement. I need space. I am all for, like, I'm very excited for people that want the tiny house, that get the tiny house. I just feel like I would be very unhappy if I were somehow I don't think anybody's making anybody live in a tiny house, but I don't think I would like it very much. It's a vacuuming stream. What can I say? Sometimes you gotta clean up. Well, you know, live streams are all about realness, and what's more real than being like, oh no, I've spilled. It must happen to everybody. Maybe I'm just really clumsy. I'm making tea, what am I having? This is an unrealistic expectation of a tea cupboard. Well, I mean, it's not that crazy. I'm still using and still very pleased with the different trays that I have. Obviously, it doesn't seem very stable because it's not, but you know, this is my black tea tray in the big tins, and then I have a smaller quantity black tea tray. I have like 6 of these with different types of tea in them. I think I'm gonna have you know what I really want? Do I have any of the Chinese? I had this like Yunnan Gold black tea that I'm really in the mood for, and I think I might be out of it. Do I have that still? That's the trouble with teas and other things like them, is you end up with a lot of them, but you only like 4 of them, and then you go through the ones that you like, and you don't want to replace them. I guess I'll just have like a normal mug. Got a BlizzCon mug of like some black breakfast tea here, just some cheap stuff. Yeah, you don't want to replace the ones that you really like that you went through because you have all of this other stuff sitting there that you don't drink, and you don't drink it because you don't like it. Or you like it seasonally, you know, in different circumstances and situations. Oh man, what are you making today? We are whipping up the conjured mana buns from the World of Warcraft cookbook. We have put together our dough, and we are currently allowing it to rise. I am using the yogurt feature in the Instant Pot today for that purpose. BF and I are considering a tiny house as a temp option while we build a house and then turn it into a mother-in-law suite. That sounds like a really good idea. I have a house that I can clean, and that is perfect. Jelly. That's the dream. Dune Scavenger 750k my server, Leaping Vein Seekers 150, and I'm flabbergasted. Those are some pretty big prices. Most folks do the mobile tiny houses, it seems. Do you ever drink coffee in the morning? I didn't used to. For last summer, for our anniversary, I got a coffee maker for myself and my husband because he drinks coffee, but only ever out of the house because I didn't drink it. So I decided to get it set up for us so I could make him some coffee in the mornings, and I started having some too. And it's nice. I do one cup, and I mean like a small one in the morning because I'm somewhat, at least I came caffeine sensitive. I don't know if I'm going to be caffeine sensitive anymore by the time that I leave the mortal coil, but for now it doesn't take very much to give me the jitters. One black tea, coffee beans, and Milo. What's Milo? If I was single, a tiny house would be okay. I just really like having a space for everything. And sure, you can multi-use spaces, and I have done that in the past, but I kind of like having a space for everything, and also just, you know, room to breathe a little bit. I want to join in the Discord community. How do I get some info? I have a chat bot that I forgot to turn on. I guess I can probably I think my computer's running. I should be able to just turn it on. Does it work? It just connects right to the stream, right? So it's okay that it's on a different computer. One would hope. I did restart my computer last night, so it probably is not on. And then, yeah, I'm gonna load this up, and then that should be able to get you a Discord invite. I did my first, so give the chat bot about 2 minutes and then type !Discord, and that should spit out some details for you. I did my first ever bonus objective in a horrific vision today. I finally scraped together the coalescing visions rather that I needed for my next run, and I just got my cloak rank 6 from that, and I needed to do an extra area, so I did it in Stormwind, and it was not too bad. I burned myself real good, real early with being too ambitious in horrific vision, so now I'm like really careful. It went fine. It was totally fine. Two-bedroom apartment or unit is about as small as I'd go, but then again, married with 2 kids, 2 dogs, and 2 cats. Yeah, that would be a bit cramped. I imagine kids in an apartment. I'm sure it's doable. I see lots of people do it around here, but a lot of people happening in one area. It's like instant chocolate, kind of like Nesquik. Let's see. It's a malt powder milk drink. Interesting. Americans have such big houses, even the small ones are huge. I live in a cold climate, so heating's expensive. Yeah, houses are... I mean, I've been looking around here because I'm looking, and they seem to really vary. There are some small ones that are not like tiny houses, but they're only like a little bigger than your average apartment around here. You know, you get like 1,000 square foot house, and that's pretty small for a house in America. I don't know why I moved my stool. I'm going to need that again shortly. Because my bread is still rising. I guess I can check on it. And I guess we can also put together our filling. We're going to need that. So we can we can start measuring our cinnamon, get our cinnamon going for our manna buns. Let's see here. Come back to Canada? I can't afford to live in Canada. My family is all in Victoria. I don't make that kind of money. I don't know anybody who makes that kind of money. Nah, man, nah. It would be so much cheaper for me to live here or in Washington and then fly home. For the price difference, I could probably fly home 4, 5, 6, 10 times a year and still be cheaper to live here. Victoria is so pricey. My family's in Coquitlam, moved to inner BC. I don't know why I would move back home to Canada if I wasn't going to be near my family, though. What's the point of me being completely alone in the mainland? I have half a house. My apartment's like maybe 90 meters squared. The nice thing about Oregon, I mean, there's a lot of nice things about Oregon, but there's no sales tax here. What is it in BC? Like 12 to 14%? Zero here. It's wonderful. I look at a price and then that's the price that I pay. And maybe that's like, I know in Europe there's sales tax, but they disclose it on the sticker of the thing that you're buying. At least that's what I've heard. And it's a great way to live. It's nice to not have to do the thing. No income tax in Washington, though. Washington's probably the only other state that I would voluntarily move. I would move somewhere else if I really had to, but I really want to stay in the Pacific Northwest. I love it here so much. I'm going to put a straw in this, and then I'm going to start fishing out the ingredients we need for the filling so we can get that ready and keep an eye on when how risen our dough is looking. Let me grab my straw for my straw drawer. You can't really see. I have different dividers for different types of things in these drawers, and it makes me so happy to be able to just reach into the junk drawer, but like know exactly where something's gonna be. I did that about like whenever it was, I think it was last summer when I was like really out of control Marie Kondoing my life, and a lot of it stuck, which surprised me. I kind of figured it was gonna be one of those phases I go through where I uproot everything in my life and go completely insane for a month and then just go back to normal. And while I'm a little back to normal in some respects, for the most part, all of the organization is still there. I still fold my sheets the same way. I fold my laundry the same way. My drawers are all the same. I feel much better having fewer clothes. If anything, I would like to get rid of a few more things. Oh man, I always forget that sales tax exists elsewhere. Also, here, when you're filling up gas, it's really ridiculous. There's only 2 states in America that are like this. It's not all of America. But in Oregon, you don't pump your own gas. Largely, you cannot. There are gas attendants at every station, and you must let them pump your gas. There's a couple of very, very small exceptions, but I'm learning how to drive, and I was all nervous about getting gas for the first time because I'm like, I don't know how to do it. And my husband's like, it's not hard. You pull up, you turn your car off, and you give them your credit card. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. No, I'm not moving to Washington. I mean, no. Mr. Nutty's job is the big limiting factor as to where we move, because I can move anywhere, or at least I can work from anywhere that has a strong internet connection, but he has like a job in a place. So Washington would be a really gross commute for him. Angel Zors, thank you very much for the 3-month resub. I would be down though. Oh man, pay for it in property taxes. I know you're dying to move to Iowa. I don't think Iowa wants me. I think that we managed to offend the entire population of Iowa with our discussion about Iowa and how little I knew about it last time. Oh man, I grew up in Oregon, didn't know how to pump gas when I went to college. Midwesterners were shocked. Does Oregon snow in the winter? Depending on where you are. Some places got a lot of it. Here around Portland, usually like once a year. Some areas got it. I haven't seen much. That would be so weird for me. Efficient use of the marketplace. Yeah, or New Jersey. Yeah, that's right. New Jersey is the other state where they don't let you pump your own gas. I'm going to look so dumb when I eventually have to do it myself. I worked in a gas station for a year as a gas attendant. Well, not as a gas attendant. I was like a store clerk, but pumping gas was one of my responsibilities. However, it was not, nobody checked if I knew how to do it when I got the job. And then I just never did it because it was a self-serve gas station, so people pump their own gas. Okay, I am fetching more butter, flour, brown sugar, cinnamon, and then we're skipping the walnuts. So basically just there's flour, there's brown sugar, there's cinnamon, and we're gonna need another half stick of butter. I always keep extra boxes of boxed butter in my fridge these days because you never know when you're gonna just need to bake, and usually butter is one of the things that comes up. I would hate to not have it. I always keep butter, I always keep chocolate chips, I always keep eggs, flour, sugar. And with those things, you can usually, if you're in like a baking emergency, which don't laugh, it happens, then you have your building blocks. You have some place to start. There's always milk, that kind of thing. So this butter, does it need to soften? Butter softened. Okay, for now I'm just going to hold it in my fist. Don't worry, it's wrapped in paper. Does the apron give you a bonus in cooking and baking skills? It mostly just means that I don't have to worry about how my clothing fits. Normally if I'm streaming, I'm just sitting, so you just get like my shirt, so it doesn't matter if I've tucked it in or not. But if I wasn't wearing the apron, I would have to be like, ooh, do I tan France it? Do I French tuck? Do I full tuck? Do I untuck? This is too much pressure, so I just slap on the apron and then nobody has to worry about it. Iowa is the start of a sentence that ends a guy 10 bucks. Oh dear. Hi from Ecuador. Hello, how are you? How are you doing today? Do you tip the gas station attendant? I don't think so. Either that or I've been very rude. I don't think so. Speaking of butter, have any other West Coasters noticed we're getting East Coast butter shape now? What's East Coast butter shape? I have not noticed a change in butter shape. CW Dinges? Dingies? There's gotta be a way to read that I have overlooked. 73, thank you very much for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. On the topic of butter shape, I don't know about butter, but in at home, the margarine would come in little bricks, but like not the long skinny ones, but squatter little bricks. And I remember being like, how am I supposed to measure this thing? And they were like, it has measurements on it. And I'm like, oh, you're right. They're both a half a cup. Curious self-gas pumper over here. I will not lie, I have watched some YouTube videos on how to pump gas for people that don't know how to. Mostly aimed at traveling New Jerseyans and Oregonians. Because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need to figure this out. If I ever actually do travel out of state, I will probably look it up again before I go because I'm gonna look so dumb. I guess, you know, it's a self-serve pump and nobody's really paying you that much attention as long as it's not super busy. Dinges? That doesn't help. Dinges? Dinges? We can go with dinges. For a long time, West Coast had chubby squat butter sticks. East Coast had skinny long sticks. There was a reason, but I forget. Grocery stores have only had the long skinny sticks. We have one self-serve in my area. My stepdad was going to show me, but never did. Really isn't hard. Most things aren't hard when you know how to do them. It's just getting over that gap that is very easy to forget exists when you've known how to do a thing a long time. It's like, you know, it's like when somebody's brand new to WoW and you're trying to explain things and then you keep realizing that things that you're explaining rest on a foundation of knowledge that you also have to explain, and the rabbit hole just keeps going down because you forget how much you learned over the last 10 years. It's probably not that complicated to pump gas, but, you know, it's a few steps. You want to do it right. Oh, boy. Over here in the UK, it's all self-pump. You can pay at the pump. Yeah, that's the same as Canada. It's the same thing. There's, like, weird advertisements that play at the pump. Yeah, rocket science is hard unless you're a rocket scientist. I always, whenever something is implied to be super easy, if it's something that I've been having trouble with, there's always a tiny little insecure part of me that goes, no, what do you mean? It's not easy for me. What are you saying about me? And I know it's not about me, but, lesser example, not a terribly legitimate one, because I blew my first couple of visions for a pretty stupid reason. It was completely my fault, but people were going like, man, yeah, I just like quad-chested my first vision. It was super easy, bro. Anybody could do it. I'm like, no. I could always ask for help from the attendant, hope they actually learned how. If not, at least figure it out together. Oh man, it's like killing rares for a quest is easy. And a friend in high school called me to help her pump gas because she was stuck at the gas station. Oh no. I'd put pumping gas at the same technical level as doing laundry. That's probably a pretty fair equivalent, because you see people do laundry for the first time, and I have not grown up pumping gas, but I did grow up doing my own laundry. Once my sister and I were like, old enough to do it without dying, like 10 or so, we were doing our own laundry individually, which I hold as a great way to parent because it took some of the load off my parents, and also we learned how to do our own laundry. So I've been doing it for a long time, and it's kind of second nature, especially because we have laundry machines. It's not like I'm taking it out to a river on a washboard. So watching somebody do laundry for the very first time, and the only mistakes you're really, you'd think that the only mistakes you're going to make with laundry are just putting something that shouldn't go in the dryer, or taking, on TV it's always somebody that puts like a red item in with the whites and they dye them all pink, although most clothes are color fast these days. But you'd be surprised at things that you take for granted and knowing that somebody that's brand new is going to do a few times before they figure it out. But, we're all going to get there. People who say horrific visions were easy day one are all demon hunters, and that really says a lot. Oh man, I don't know where Shadow Priests fall in the power rankings of solo horrific visions, but I felt pretty good because I can heal myself, I can dispel buffs off of stuff, and I can fear, I can stun, I can multi-dot, and I can shield myself. So I feel like I have a decent toolkit. It's probably not perfect, but I think it's okay. You're like, laundry is easy, and then your whites come out pink. It would serve me well to just never declare that laundry is easy, because I still ruin things. Although, I am feeling super self-righteous about my decision to get a drying rack so that I can air dry more laundry, because I really want to keep my clothes longer. I am not like the most sustainable person, because nobody is, but keeping your clothes longer is one way that you can try to help reduce your environmental impact, because that's a whole thing. And one thing that really shreds your clothes is the dryer. Like, you take the lint out of the dryer, and that's all fabric that used to be on your clothes. It's not anymore. So anything that is going to live longer and like stay better by air drying, I just throw it all on a drying rack, and then I put it away at the end of the day. It's not that much extra work. And my clothes have been a little bit nicer. My grandma turned my grandpa's undershirts pink several times, apparently. I did a pair of pajamas at least once. The thing that I do, the laundry mistake that I make these days, it's not dyeing things pink by accident, it's accidentally getting bleach stains on stuff. Because, so I color I get my hair colored. I go to a salon for this, which is not in the most flattering light right now, but I promise you it looks cool. I go to the salon to get my hair colored, which means I am no longer messing around with hair bleach in my own home. For a while I was doing that, and my towels are a mess because you get bleach on them, and then bleach takes some of the color out. It doesn't leave white spots, it leaves less saturated spots. So on a blue towel I have pink spots. So I don't do that anymore, but because my hair is dyed, when dyed hair is wet, depending on what was used, it will sometimes leach dye back out onto the surface. So if I'm having a bubble bath and I have conditioner in my hair and I'm leaning against the wall of the bathtub, I'm gonna leave, I was afraid of that. Why does it do that? I have it plugged into power. I will leave a blue stain. Oh, maybe, don't mind me. That's probably just a timer, because that was almost exactly an hour. It'll leave a blue stain. Why won't that come back in? Hang on. Let me restart this. You can still hear me, right? Yeah. This was not a particularly visual stream in the first place. Let's see. Let's try that one. Let's this one. Uh-oh. Well, that's upsetting. What else can we do? Anyways, I use bleach. Sorry, don't mind me. I am continuing to troubleshoot. I'm aware the feed's gone. I use regular, like, laundry bleach to get my hair stains out of the tub. And that works a trick, but you gotta be real careful with anything. Like, you gotta be careful when you're using bleach that you don't get it on any clothes that you like. And then when I'm washing the things that I didn't like but I wore anyways, sometimes I forget and I put those in with my regular laundry, and I've definitely got some bleach spots on stuff from doing that. I have one of my bathroom towels, which, to be fair, it's a cheap towel. Nobody's crying themselves to sleep at night. Let's try that again. But I've got a big yellow stain in my green towel now because I got bleach on it. Why? Why? Am I gonna have to, like... I don't understand. I understand why it deactivated. I don't understand why it's refusing to reactivate. I'm aware of the black screen. No, it's not you, it is me. Podcast button. Testing your dedication. I mean, I know it's dark. I know. I promise that I know. I could not know anymore if you paid me. Unable to use memory card. No, don't format slot 1. What about that? Did that do it? Hey, there we go. That did do it. Okay, Marmo, thank you very much for the 8-month resub. Hazel's official podcast. You guys have been asking for it, and all it took was my camera unexpectedly turning off. Baking in the dark could be hazardous. The side effect of not eating enough mana buns. True. Yeah, it was just the N'Zoth sanity effect. That's right. Little did you know Hazel After Dark would be cooking based. Man, I mean, some people stream without a camera, but usually there's like a game or something. It would take a weird kind of stream. I'm imagining, like, Melarana, thank you very much for the gift sub, and grats to Tesmont for winning that. Yeah, I'm imagining, like, another 20 years from now, Twitch is still going strong, and there are some veteran Twitch streamers that have been streaming for, like, 25 years, say. And after 25 years, they still do their show, but they don't do their makeup anymore. They don't do their hair. They just put a graphic on their stream, and then they don't even sit down at the desk with a microphone. They have a mobile one they just, like, sit in bed with. Or, like, they'll sit on their balcony with a cup of coffee, but you don't get the balcony cam because, like, they don't want to put on clothes. So you just get them just like, all right, it's 45 and cloudy here in Oklahoma. And then they'll, I don't know why, I don't know what that means. Oh man, happy podcast day. This is all part of the Patreon drive for a new camera. I think we're good with those. I twice now have had Patreon goals for camera upgrades. Twice I have bought camera upgrades with those. And I think we're as upgraded as we're ever going to be now. I think the current vlog camera, I may buy a new lens for it at some point because this is a wide angle lens. This is a 35mm lens, which isn't the widest angle, but it's not a zoom lens. This is a 35mm prime lens. And it's pretty narrow, you know, like when I'm filming my vlog in my office, I have to be really far scooched back to like even get kind of in the frame. So I might get a wider lens for it at some point, but like I have enough of the background in there. It's a little zoomed in on me, but it's not the worst thing. And nice lenses are really expensive, so that's not like a priority for me. And I just started BFA for the first time, hit 120. There's so much content, it's confusing. Anyone in chat, help with a few tips. First, you're like a fresh 120. Can you start the Gate 3 stuff? Can you start the Black Empire campaign at 120? Because if you can, I would do that. That's going to get you some big gear upgrades right off the start. It's going to get you rolling in your cloak upgrades. If you can't start with that, then I would do the Najatar stuff, but I feel like you should be able to start with the current stuff. Becky, look at her lens. Yeah, the problem with getting a nice camera is then you're like, well, I don't want to go with a cheap lens now, but lenses can easily cost as much as the camera, even when the camera was kind of expensive. I was going to mix together the stuff, that's right. I was holding on to this stick of butter to soften it, and you know what? It kind of worked. I think we fidgeted long enough. So we're basically going to mix together, cream the dry ingredients with the butter set aside. So I could do that with a few things. I don't think I really want to use a huge bowl. It's only a 1/4 cup of butter. So I'm just going to get like a medium small Pyrex bowl here. And then we'll use a hand mixer. I still have one of these. I also have a very teeny tiny waffle maker in the back that I don't use very much because it makes one sad little half waffle at a time. But, you know, waffles. And I got it and I was like, how many waffles do I really need to make? I'm only making waffles for 2 people. I can make 1 waffle at a time, and then I haven't used it because it does not make enough waffles at a time. I want another one of these things. We keep our knives in the same drawer as our little tools like this, and it makes digging your hand too deep a little bit hazardous. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still, you want to really have your eyes on when you're doing that. Okay, we're just going to put everything in the bowl, and then we're going to turn on the mixer and try not to fling butter everywhere. No promises. How much flour are we doing? 2 teaspoons, not very much. Let me grab one of those. Teaspoon. Start National to get essences. Do the intro to National, get the essence. A lot of world quests I should do. National stuff right away at 120. Get good gear with the intro quests. What you drinking? I made a cup of English breakfast tea. Actually, is it even English breakfast tea? It's Red Rose. It's very cheap, like mass-produced black tea. I got it from Canada. It's... Sometimes you just want like a good strong kick in the face. But tea, you know? Not actual violence, just tea. Here we go. So, 1 teaspoon of flour, 2 teaspoons of flour. I feel like it was always just like butter, sugar, and cinnamon. But maybe there's a little bit of flour in it, I guess so. And then 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. And maybe just like a tiny sprinkle of nutmeg, just because. So I bought these like I bought this like spice rack all the way over there, and it has these jars that like sit in it. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. And that way I can have spices in their jars and I can label them. So for labels, I just printed off labels and then I packing taped them on. That's never going to focus. I printed off labels, I packing taped them on so I can know what it is. But the problem is that the mouth of these jars, one, it gets a bunch of, like if you're going to completely take the lid off to try to get a spoon in there, it gets a bunch of cinnamon like around the rim and stuff, so it's like really messy. And then secondly, no spoon be fitting in there. No spoon. Not the tablespoon. I don't think the teaspoon either. Yeah, teaspoon also doesn't fit in there. It's not very good for scooping. And I don't use spices in dashes. I use spices in shovelfuls. So this was not as good. I need a really wide neck one, I think. Oh man, builder's tea, 3 tea bags per mug and steep for an hour? I'm just gonna yellow this a little bit. It's just for the filling, so we're trying to get 2 of these. So that looks like about 1. I'll underdo it just in case I overdo it next time. And then that looks like about 2-ish. Yeah, it's pretty close. Bad spice jars, yeah. That's what you get for buying the cheap thing off Amazon. I don't hate them entirely. They do some of their job. It's just, I know that in the future, just like hot tip, if you're ever looking for a spice rack, go for it, but check the width, check the diameter of the jar mouths and really think about your spoons. Think about what you're going to be trying to get in there and make sure that you've thought ahead, because nobody wants to replace a perfectly good spice rack because it actually sucks, See you later. You're going to take my PF on a date. Have fun. Yellow Spice, the little-known stick spice girl. I'd rather have my food be gross because it's like a little too much fun than have my food suck because it just has no fun at all. You know what I mean? Maybe that's my spice privilege talking, but I'm not buying super expensive ones. Okay. And 2 tablespoons of this stuff, so there's 1. I do enjoy how when you really pack in brown sugar into a thing, it like holds its shape and you make these little domes, little sugar balls. Rando question, how tall are you? I'm 5'10". Measuring spoons with a wide mouth and a skinny end. The skinny end would fit. Got them off Amazon, they're magnetic too. Oh, I think I've seen those. They're like strippy. I got these ones because I really specifically wanted measuring spoons that were etched and not printed, because printed measurements always wear off. and I didn't want any of that anymore. So I looked around a lot to try to find some that were etched, and I got that, but they're very wide. They're definitely very wide. But you're right, maybe I should replace my spoons and not my jars. Although, it still won't fix the problem of them like going poof every time you take the lid off. It's great for magic effects. I'm kind of drilling through this stick of butter. It's a little questionable. I'm gonna stab it some, because it's softened, but it's not, like, melted yet, you know? Also, I have no idea how long this has been. It's definitely bigger. It's definitely about double in size, so whenever we're good here, we can roll that out, because it's gonna have to rise again. We're basically gonna roll out the dough, 24 by 12 inches, so I'm probably gonna go get the tape measure. I have my builder's one handy because I was measuring my second desk. It's not a comfortable place to sit, even when I drag over a comfortable chair, and that was just baffling me because it's the same height. How can a desk that is the same height as my normal desk, when I'm sitting in the same chair, be so much less comfortable? And I realized it's a very shallow desk. It's like less than 2 feet deep, and it's also not very wide, so like I'm turning my keyboard sideways so I can have my gamepad on my mouse on either side, and I'm kind of like chicken arming, I'm T-Rex gaming, because it doesn't go very deep. Which, again, I've tried to save money by, whenever I'm like feeling bad about buying a thing, I try to save money by buying a cheap version, and then I end up spending more money by buying it twice. And I need to cut that out. I'm gonna put this in the microwave for like 15 seconds, because right now I just have butter pebbles. You know, I have boulders, and I need this to become spreadable. So let's do 30 and I'll stop it. Famous last words, right? Hey. Because I'm not trying to melt it completely, although that wouldn't be the worst thing. I just need to soften it up. I feel like I've done this with melted butter before, though. Let's see what that did. I'm leaving the microwave open on purpose, because I might need to go back in. Well, now I have mushy pebbles. Mix, darn you. Oh, that's working. Haha, it just needed to be really, oh yeah. Sometimes you just gotta get in there with a spoon, you know? Yeah. Yeah, all right. That's cinnamon and butter. Okay, so that's good. Let's get this put away before I accidentally turn it on when I don't intend to. Yeah, we're making manna buns, basically cinnamon buns. We have dough, we have filling, backseat chef. I mean, that's part of the joy and the glory, is that after a baking stream, usually from you guys, I have learned a few good tips. Sometimes I'll do one of them, and then the rest of it I just get really petty and self-righteous and be like, I'm gonna make it my way, and I feel like that's also fun, so we do a little bit of everything here. Oh man. Yeah, we're not adding any liquid, that's the whole filling. If only there was some sort of book to give you directions. What would that even look like? It just says cream dry with butter set aside. It just says mix the filling together, which we have done, so we're good, you know? Go us. Drinking coffee out of a spoon? I mean, live your life. Is that a metal straw? Yes. Yes, this is a metal straw. I have retroactively become a hipster. I promise when I bought it, it wasn't because everybody else was doing it. They copied me. We're going to roll this out. I needed to get to 2 feet by 1 foot, 24 inches by 12 inches. And I don't know what inches look like. When I was a kid, I could have sworn they were like really tiny because everybody's like, oh man, it didn't move an inch. And I'm like, well, that has to mean it's really small. So I was like talking to my friends being like, an inch is this big. And my fingers would be like super, super close. An inch is this big. And they're like, no, that's a centimeter, maybe even a millimeter. And I'm like, but, and turns out I was wrong. So we are going to find out. 24 inches. My cutting board is not that big. I'm going to need to clean the counter. 24 inches. Okay. Also, I should butter one thing at a time. This is going to have to rest. What are we doing? I am rolling it out, spreading the filling, rolling it up, slicing it, putting one in a muffin space and prepare the tins. So I'm preparing the tins now. Okay. There's going to be 24 buns. Oh, this is why I own multiple muffin tins. I couldn't remember. Also, I need a different place to store my bread tins. Those are constantly falling. That's right. Okay, so stuff that I keep in that drawer underneath the stove always gets like crumbs in it, so I'm gonna wash these. And then I'm gonna butter them. Inches are like really big centimeters. I don't know the exact conversion, but I have since learned that they are in fact a fair bit bigger. The WoW Cookbook on some recipes I think is a little light on instructions. I think to some extent it depends on which recipe it is. Some of them are more beginner friendly than others, but it does kind of assume a basic level of competence, as most cookbooks do, because if they were explaining how to do everything, people that already knew how would be like really overwhelmed with the instructions. And I think that's why you get like baking blogs that have like the 15-page explanation with photos combined with the backstory of how your grandmother came to visit. And then you get the little square printable recipe at the bottom. As much as I resent reading about people's grandmothers when I didn't want to, it is nice sometimes to have all the progress pictures so that you know what it's supposed to look like at any given stage, and you can already tell when you've messed it up. So that's one. 2.54 centimeters per inch. By international law. By international law. Oven on. We're not baking them for at least another half hour, so I'm going to let that sit for a while. I'll probably preheat like halfway. It doesn't take this oven very long to get it to heat. I don't want to do it too early. Watching cooking while waiting for the ivory cloud serpent. I always thought the WoW Cookbook was a joke until I saw people actually using it. Want a Breath of the Wild one? I saw some video where somebody from a gaming magazine was making like every recipe from Breath of the Wild, which is a ridiculous amount because like you can combine everything, and it was quite the trip. Okay, so that one, I already washed this. I only remember washing one of these. Pot's going to town on your measurement conversions in chat. Oh boy. Hazel, I'm very concerned. Are you preheating? I will, but not yet. BDG. Brian David Gilbert. Oh, is that who that was? It was a pretty good trip. Okay, so I need to prepare these. Did she say how to prepare them? She said, no. Oh, pardon me. Butter the muffin tins. Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna butter them then. Oh. Grab butter. So tonight is a raid night for us, and I think that combined with this means that it's probably going to be a frozen pizza night. It's not the healthiest food for you, but it is cheaper than takeout. So that we'll do one usually, or at least once a week on some night that we're busy. And I was wondering, what are your guys' raid night dinner traditions, especially if like you and your partner raid together? I guess if you're the only one raiding, it might not be quite such an event, but our routines are definitely different on Wednesdays and Thursdays during raid season. After how much time this boss rages? Oh man, I may live across the country, but will you send me some mana buns via carrier pigeon? Of all ways to transport baked goods, I feel like by bird really, I mean, sure, the pilot flying the plane, if you were to airmail them, might get hungry, but I feel like he's less likely to want to break his pilot's oath that I've just invented and start digging into the snacks. Prep meals, make burgers and brats ahead of time so we can just grab and go. I was thinking, not for raid night, but I make black beans once a week. I'll do a whole pot of them in the Instant Pot. I will freeze them with rice, and then I'll add like kimchi to that as like a weekday lunch. And I've been eating that like 5 days a week for the last month. And I'm like, black beans are so cheap and easy to prepare, and they're like a good base food to build on. I need to figure out how to make and freeze good black bean burgers, because I don't think I've ever really enjoyed a black bean burger. They're food. They're fine. They're never something to write home about, at least not for me. I would, as a pescatarian, I would much prefer to have like a fish burger. So I've never really liked them, but if I can find a way to make a really good one and then freeze it so I just have to like fry it up on the stove real quick, that would be good, because I'm going to one day get bored of eating bowls of rice and beans. Pizza for raid last night. Traditionally, it has tended to be door-dashed fazoli's. Raid night is often leftover night at our house. We order pizzas for raid nights here. It's for supper. We're probably doing a frozen pizza. Get a drink and a pack of Skittles. It's been tradition for years. Have you tried Morning Star Farms freezer ones? No, I don't think so. Are you vegetarian? I am pescatarian. So I do eat fish and seafood. However, I do not eat poultry. So no ducks, no chicken. And then no like pork or beef or anything like that. I try to avoid eating bugs whenever I can. Sometimes life happens. So, what am I doing? I am cleaning the counter because we're going to need to roll this out. We're going to try and get it out to the correct measurements this time. I think I did them too small before. So I'm going to rinse out my dishcloth, wipe down the counter. I love black bean burgers, but I've yet to find a great home recipe. My concern is that it's going to be really boring. And while most things can be saved by delicious bread, I don't want to have to do that. I also want to find a way to do it with a different flavor profile than the bowls that I do. So as much as I love kimchi on a veggie burger, I might need to find a different topping. Maybe I should figure out what sauerkraut's all about. I've been trying to eat more fermented foods. Okay. Although sauerkraut sounds like something that old men eat. And I don't know why that upsets me. It just doesn't sound good. Isn't it just like Western kimchi? What am I doing? I am drying the counter because we're going to be rolling out our dough on it. And I kept this for that purpose. That's the wrong drawer. We're going to get our rolling pin out here. Cover that all up. And let's see if we can roll this out. So this is what our dough rose to. I wouldn't call it huge, but it's bigger than it was. It's hopefully about half the size, or twice the size. It's warm on the bottom. Ooh, it felt friendly. Oh, maybe it's just because it's warm. I feel like it likes me. I've been inside too long, you know, that's my problem. There's nothing wrong with me, but, you know, humans are a product of our environments, as well as our genetics, but our environments play a massive part. And part of your environment is the way you live, and the way you talk to yourself, and the way you see the world, and other people can influence that. And if you never see another person, that'll also influence that. We're trying to get this to 24 by 12 inches, which is kind of massive. Alrighty then. I'm just going to leave this up here and put my back into it, I guess. Oh, it's stretchy. So we're going to start by trying to get it to 24, and then we're going to worry about getting it to 12. This filling's going to be spread pretty thin. All right. Hopefully this doesn't stick. I sprinkled flour on the counter, but not like that far. So that's like 20, we're at like a 22, a strong 22. Whee! Ooh, I feel like I'm making pizza. I've never actually picked up pizza dough before like that. I just wanted to get some more flour under there to avert future disaster. Also, I feel like that stretched it out a little bit. Oy. It's nice to do a thing, you know? That's like a real thing that you can see and feel and eat. Okay, that's got to be 2 feet. I'm fine. That just scared me. I had it locked, but clearly not enough. Okay. Yeah, that's at least 2 feet. Okay. So, fun fact, if you ever are encountered with a rapidly... Oh, there we go. It wasn't locked. With a rapidly recoiling tape, the correct answer is to throw it in a direction where nobody is, because those can really cut you. All right, let's get that a little wider, shall we? We're going for a foot deep by 2 feet wide. I didn't think it was going to happen, but look at this, it's huge. Also, my mixer's in the way. Move. Thank you. Huh, all right. So that is, yeah, there we go. All right, so I'm going to slice that to make it nice and even, because I want a square, you know? So let's slice it at like the thinnest point. I'm not going to worry too much about the measurements after this point. And then like that. I'm not pressing down too hard. This is a pretty stable countertop. I don't think I've ever scratched it. And then over here. Just take off a little bit of the edge. It's not going to be perfectly square. I just want it to be like closer. Okay. So we are doing this into 24 buns. So we're basically going to spread out the stuff. Spread the feeling evenly over the surface, leaving only a small strip along one long edge uncovered. That is an accent that's not offensive because it's not anybody's accent. Nobody sounds like that. A triangle? Yeah, no, we're not doing a triangle. Watched a lot of how-to cake. Rules are a must. It's the first time I've seen someone tape measure out their food. I mean, this is just so you can be really impressed by how much I'm able to mess something up after having measured. So it says leave a long stretch. I'm going to assume like an inch long. I'm going to leave the strip on the inner edge. Beginning on the opposite. Yeah, because we're going to be rolling it this way. So actually, I'm going to leave the strip on this edge. So I'm going to score it very lightly just to keep an eye on where I want to spread it. And then I'm trying to spread this somehow. Let's just do little chunks along. I don't know how I'm going to get this filling to spread. It's only a 1/4 cup of butter. And this is like feet of dough here. Let's start with this. Yeah, the knife is a much better tool for this, because we're going to need to scrape. Ah, I put my fingers in it. That's wrong. That's not where that goes. It's okay, we cleaned them. This isn't going great, but it could be worse. It's kind of satisfying. I feel like I'm painting. There's just something very fun about how big this is. I must not have gotten it big enough last time. I probably like read that it was supposed to be 24 and went, I probably just rolled it at the size of my cutting board. I think it's more important that we get it all the way widthwise and all the way lengthwise, because if we get it all the way widthwise, then every bun is going to have some filling. If it's uneven lengthwise, it just means that one of the rolls of it is going to be a little wonky, which is a more acceptable evil, I think. So we want to get it all the way to the end so that every bun has some cinnamon. Otherwise, what are we even doing? And then we can worry about getting all the way to the other end. really want you to work for this, huh? So I'm supposed to bring it all the way to the near edge. I can hear birds. Sometimes I walk and I hear birds, and I wonder if this is something that will be written about in books that, like, kids 100 years from now will be like, man, I wonder what birds were like. If you think about it, if the climate change disaster really goes the way that it could, we are living in the best time possible, because we benefit from all the technology that took all this many years to create. You know, we have smartphones, we have democratized information, you can teach yourself anything online, you've got lots of opportunities and lots of labor that you can now use machines so that you're not spending all your day doing laundry. You know, that's pretty great. But we also have birds still. You know, we got water and power, and it could be a lot worse. There we go. So, as stressful as the news cycle makes today seem, I'm alright. Here we go. Alright. Look at that. How you guys been? Double the filling. Food paint needs more filling. I mean, that's the amount the recipe wanted. It'll be fine. Getting hungry now, but too lazy to get out of bed. I think it actually seems like it kind of evened out. Like, you don't want it to be too, like, you don't want the butter to, like, spill out and, like, leak from the buns and get all soggy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to roll it up, starting at the near edge, and roll it up, and then we're going to slice it into 12. I could use thread for that. I've seen that. I've done that before. I used to do that when I would make, like, biscuit buns. But I'm probably just going to put it onto the board and use the knife. Okay. Nice little spiral. It's not sticking to the counter, which is the best. Look at that. Look at that. Do I pinch? Using a sharp knife, slice every 1 inch. Place 1 bun in each muffin space. Cover, allow to rise for another 20 minutes. Okay. So, and at that point, I will probably preheat the oven, so don't even worry about it. I'm going to, well, I guess I'm not pinching much. The muffin tin will hold them together. Where'd my board go? It's underneath my book. All right, every 1 inch, huh? So what I'm actually going to do is we're doing 24, right? So that is an evenly divisible number, which means that I can go in half and then in half again. So if this is our 2 feet, that's about 12 inches. So there's half, that's 2. Half again is going to make 4. I should have sharpened my knife, but it's fine. And then half again is going to make 8. Hang on, hang on, no. 6 out of each of these. So half again one more time, but then into thirds. I'm not going to do the math, I'm just going to live my life. 1, and then thirds. So we could have also just measured an inch. 3, 1, 3. Yeah, this knife isn't sharp enough. I'm kind of flattening these a little bit. I'll have to reshape them. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Awesome. Oh boy. Look at that. Okay, so I kind of flattened them a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to just perk them right back up and sit them down. This is what the spiral's looking like. You'll never know. There it is. So flat, yes. Spirally, yes. And that'll, well, you know what? I'm not going to work too hard. If they want to be flat buns, then who am I to bun shame them? They can be whatever shape they feel like they want to be. They will be delicious. They look kind of small, but they'll be good, right? So 1 per opening, and then we'll preheat the oven. We're going to put the towel over them, and we'll let them rise again for basically as long as the oven's going to preheat. Should be about 20 minutes. And everything is going to be just fine. So they're gonna bake at what, 350? Yeah, 350. I'm gonna grab, well, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you the unbaked bun. Oh, don't dump it in the sink. We only have 24 of those. And grab a clean dish towel to cover them, or most of them, close enough. Man, one inch each. Now I'm craving Cinnabon. I'm not gonna do the math, I'm just gonna live my life. That's what I say about ex-girlfriends. They look good. I'm hoping they rise a little bit more in the oven. They are a yeasted roll, so they should have the capacity to rise. Let's carefully put that away. And while you should not do this because it does contain raw eggs, I'm gonna snack in a little bit of the dough to figure out what the flavor of the dough is like. It's got some crunch, or it's got some, not crunch, it is not crunchy, it's got some chew to it. Which means that we did need an amount. Whether it was the right amount, we'll find out. Okay. So we're gonna do some dishes. We're gonna need to wait until the oven heats, and then until they take like what, 20 minutes to bake? 15 to 20. I feel like they're gonna be on the 15-minute end of that because they're small, right? So they'll probably take a little less time to bake, and then we're gonna glaze them. So we can come up with some glaze. I just want to make something that I can eat on stream. We've done a lot of baking streams that have a large rest period at the end. So I like put something in the oven and then I'm like, all right guys, bye. And well, that's fine. And we always get into whatever it was on the following day's stream. Most of the time. It's not quite as satisfying. I want a pre-raid mana bun. So hopefully we can, yeah, so, well, when the buns are done, remove them, spoon the glaze over, and enjoy. So we'll be able to eat one at the end. The crunchy part is the mana. Yeah, so once this heats, we'll do them for 15 minutes, and then we'll be done. So it's bun time soon. Not yet, but soon. I will clean up my kitchen. I would drink more tea, but I think, well, I have a little bit more here. I shouldn't make any more tea, because this is a black tea, and it is almost 5 p.m. Can't stay up all night. What's it supposed to taste like? I don't know. I think it's probably supposed to be a bit bready and a bit sweet. If I had to guess, I think these ones, this is a bit of a different recipe than your normal yeasted cinnamon bun. They don't get quite as big, but they hold their shape a little bit more. And that's like a unique one to this recipe. You sound 100? Like I'm really loud, or I just sound very old. Does Mr. Nutty Games ever stuff the ballot box when it's recipe voting time since he gets the leftovers? I don't think that he supports me on Patreon, but that's all right because, you know, we're married and stuff. Oh man, okay, so this goes away. I don't know why I put my mixer up on my counter by the monitor. That's not right. That goes down here. We are finally done with the flour. Oh, I should check to see what I'm gonna need for the glaze. Presumably, it's just like an icing sugar thing, right? Oh, brown sugar glaze. I'm gonna need more brown sugar. Okay, brown sugar, more brown sugar, butter, flour. Heavy cream. Oops, well, we're gonna make it with milk. Whole milk, but milk. So it says for the glaze, melt the brown sugar in a saucepan, stir in flour, pour the milk in. Oh man, I thought I was just gonna be like mixing some icing sugar with some milk and calling it a day. Oh man, today has been mentally and emotionally exhausting. This baking stream was wonderful. I hope things look up for you. Or at least you have some nice quiet time to process and get to the, maybe not the bottom of anything, but you know, stuff can wait sometimes. What am I doing? I'm continuing to tidy, although I put away everything because I was like, I'm done with this. Not so much. Throw this away. Well, we're not throwing anything away. Over here, over here. I was thinking about takeout food containers because I read some article, and I swear the articles I read are just, I should stop because they make me feel worse about everything that I do. But I read one about compostable containers, and you get those like compostable takeout containers, and areas will have those places for composting, and how a lot of those don't actually it doesn't actually work out, you know? Most of it ends up in the garbage anyways because it's like too contaminated, or they'll compost it, but then no gardening place actually wants the compost because it's too contaminated, and you don't want to grow produce with contaminated compost, and it's a whole thing. So really the most sustainable thing you can do is reusable stuff, right? Like you get your reusable mug and you take it to a coffee place. And I was thinking there must be somebody that sells like a kit that you could have in your car or whatever that's like a reusable takeout dish with like some cutlery. And you could just like give the dish to the place you're buying your food from for them to fill it with and then give it back to you, and then you take it home and clean it. And I'm wondering how many people would actually do that. I would feel awkward giving it to a takeout place. Like, it's one thing to, it's encouraged or even mandatory now to have reusable bags in Oregon. They don't sell plastic bags anymore. So, you know, if you're getting your groceries, you hand them like your reusable bag and they'll bag it in that. But I feel like I would feel a little weird going up to like a takeout window or a food truck and just like handing them a plastic container. But if it cuts down on waste and it cuts down on cost for them, I don't see why not. Did you see the strange scientific doomsday clock? God, no. I need to not look at that. I believe it. I need to not look at that. That's not going to do anything good for me. Can you mail some of those mana buns to Cathedral Square? The paladins need them for our Onyxia raids. Wanting to make these buns, interested to see how they turn out. I'm also, like, obviously I must have made them before because I have a photo of them on my phone, but I'm kind of curious because I was really craving like the big fluffy cinnamon buns, and I don't think that's what this recipe makes. So I'm interested to see if these really hit my cinnamon bun craving, or if they're just another thing and I'm going to need additional ones. My sister brings her own glass containers to restaurants used for leftovers or for takeout. It's kind of what I'm thinking. We don't get takeout often enough for this to be a thing I put a lot of thought into, but I don't know. Most of the time I just eat at home because it's way cheaper, and then I can use my own reusable dishes and wash them at home, and then, you know, it's cheaper. I will say that proving that dough worked really good in the Instant Pot. I was pretty satisfied with that. I'm going to wipe the counter down again because I got all kinds of flour on it, but not really enough of it to be worth scraping off. This will probably be fine. It's just a matter of getting used to it. Reusable containers are perfectly doable. I hope BFA isn't the end of Rathian. I also like him, but I think anytime that they make a character too central for too long, you get kind of the Khadgar effect, where even if they were cool, they just become a meme. Although Khadgar definitely leaned into that all by himself. But I think he's cool, and I hope he surfaces again, but I don't need it to be like, I don't need him to be the main boy of Shadowlands, you know? I don't mind characters kind of coming in and out of the storyline. I am really interested in what they are doing with Kalia. Kalia? Daddy's Girl Manithil. There's that new quest that has her and Derek, right, leave? That was added in 8.3, and I want to know where that's going. That's gotta, they're not gonna leave that until after Shadowlands. They gotta do that in Shadowlands, right? Okay, so this is preheated. Those have not risen at all, but I feel like my stuff, well, actually they rose a little bit. The problem is that I never get stuff warm once it's rising in the tins because it's not warm in here, and like even on the stove, it's not warm. I'm just gonna bake them. What do you do? Live your life. They do look a little bigger, actually. So we're gonna throw those in. We're going to check them after 15 minutes. And in the meantime, we are going to make the brown sugar glaze to go atop them. When was the last time you said atop anything? Same, I want a whole lot of Kalia. I really want Alliance Undead. I really want it. And if anybody's going to bring them to me, then it would be her. So I am holding out all kinds of hope. All right, a cup of brown sugar, and then some butter and flour, and then the cream and stuff. Okay, so let's, it's a good thing I have a big old container of that. My husband made fun of me for how big my brown sugar container was, and apparently it was for this recipe specifically. This is a brown sugar specific mana bun situation. So I'm gonna grab a saucepan, or, you know, pot. What are we doing? We are melting the butter. Melt the brown sugar. Then stir in the flour and then pour in the milk. Oh, I'm not good at melting sugar. Anytime any recipe is like, yo, just throw some sugar in a hot pan, it'll turn into caramel, I'm like, lies. It's never happened to me. Let's see. We had Painting Cricks with a brand new sub a couple minutes ago. Thank you very much, and welcome to the Squirrel Squad. And Rip Spiff with the 200 bits. Rogue here. I don't know what a mana is or what's going on, but I love your Nyalotha guides. Thank you very much. I'm doing a little WoW Cookbook baking stream from my kitchen today. I need my cup. Did you see the Horde side quest with Callie and Derek arriving to see what Lillian wanted? No, I didn't. I'm going to be honest with you, actually. I didn't do the Alliance quest. I just read the dialogue on Wowhead. I was like looking up the quest to decide if it was something I'm going to do now or if I'm going to put it off for another 6 months until I get annoyed with like looking at it. Oh man, I think we got Lightforged Forsaken. They'd be like pandas. That'd be fine. I don't need them to have bright yellow eyes. Although I guess maybe regular Forsaken have yellow eyes. I don't know. I don't need them to be like all holy and purified or anything like that. I just want to be undead, but also Alliance. I feel bad about using this much brown sugar. I don't know why. It's not like a precious commodity. This is just so much. Alright, so there's a cup. I bent my spoon a little bit. And then we're gonna... I think I'm just skeptical that this is gonna do anything. What kind of heat does it say? Medium? Medium low. Alright. Well, if you say so, medium low. And then it's going to be a half a cup of milk a little later on. Catching a baking stream. Normally just watch them on YouTube, so it's exciting to see the action in real time. You are not that far from the grand finale. We have them in the oven, and we're 12 minutes away from potentially taking them out. They're spirally, and we're making a glaze, or at least we're trying to. If anybody has any tips on how to melt sugar, like, it's one thing if you combine it with liquid. Maybe I just stir it a little. But the problem is we're mixing it with milk, which I don't really want to heat up that much. I don't know, man. So we're going to be mixing that, and then stirring in flour, and then pouring in milk, and then adding butter and vanilla. I always reach a point about like an hour and a half into baking where I'm like, I'm done. I have had enough. I'm no longer having fun. Oh boy, I'm ready to eat the thing. Whatever happened to icing sugar? Alright, we'll use a little bit of that. How much butter does it want? A tablespoon. Okay, 1 tablespoon of butter. I can just slice that off of this bar right here. Is that an induction burner stove? I have no idea. I think it's just an electric stove. It's a glass top. It's like a flat top stove, if that's what you mean. I've only ever used white sugar to make caramel. They caramelize sugar in fine dining restaurants on desserts with a blowtorch. That's a thing I should not do. I stir the sugar until it melts and add the butter, then take it off the stove, slowly stir in milk. That's pretty much what they want me to do. In my life, I have always stirred the sugar, and then I've just had a bunch of hot sugar in a pan. And maybe I'm about to be proven wrong. But right now, I have a bunch of hot sugar in a dry pan. At what point does it just melt? I know I sound dumb, because I know it obviously does. I know this isn't just like a lie, but it feels like one, because I've never succeeded. I've always had to mix something into it. It takes a long time. How long? Evening, Hazel and chat. How's it going? What's up? It's going all right. We're making some mana buns, conjuring them up. Cooking stream is like NASCAR. We watch for the accidents. I thought the same thing the first time I did it, low and slow. Well, I got 15 minutes. Is it gonna happen in 15 minutes? Oh boy. That's just a pot full of sugar. I would be excited to accomplish it because I like caramel a lot. As a flavor, it is superior to many things. Leave it alone and watch it when it starts to melt. Swirl the pot. Okay. I'm getting my stool back, you know? Maybe I'm impatient because I'm standing. I'm just gonna sit down. I'm gonna stare at this thing. I'm gonna drink my cold tea. Actually, I'm gonna need to get the rest of my ingredients out. So let's prepare them, shall we? It wants a dash of vanilla, so we can dash that right out of there. It's gonna want a tablespoon of flour, so I'm just gonna pre-measure that into a little thingy so that I'm not like scrambling for it later. Not that it really matters. I think the flour is just to stabilize this. I say that as though I know anything. Just pot full of sugar makes the medicine go down. I was allergic to chocolate as a kid, so I had all the other flavors in desserts. Did you recover? Is it a past tense thing? Can you currently have chocolate now? And if so, how much of a disappointment was it? Because chocolate's good, but Western media hypes the hell out of chocolate, and it's only okay. Don't get me wrong, it's good. I enjoy chocolate. Sometimes I crave chocolate. Sometimes I'm looking for chocolate. In those times, I will often make a chocolate cake in the microwave in like a bowl. But it's not like, you know, you'd watch commercials and romantic comedies and stuff, and it would just seem like it's this ambrosial thing that was, you know, you watch like a commercial for those hazelnut ones, the gold wrapped ones that were in like, pyramids, people would stack them. Ferrero Rocher, I don't know how to say it, I'm not Italian. And they just made it out to be like life-changing. And it's just a candy, you know, it's nice. Caramel's good too. Salted caramel in particular, all kinds of iconic. Ferrero Rocher, I don't know. I like them, but that's because hazelnut and chocolate's just like a good combo. They are delicious together. Okay, so I got my tablespoon of butter, I got my tablespoon of flour, I got my dash of vanilla. What else does it want from me? It's gonna want a half a cup of heavy cream. I'm not gonna have that, so I'm going to get a half a cup of whole milk and then just call it good. It's a glaze, it'll be fine. I'm gonna measure that into, well, I'm probably just gonna measure that when it comes to it. I can just get my half cup ready. That's this one. Ferrero is how we tend to pronounce it. European chocolate, in terms of chocolate bars, is better than what we have here in the NA. I mean, depending on what price point, I think it's just because the average chocolate that you find on the shelf and that people buy in North America, like, if you're looking at a bar of Hershey's, that's not good. It's barely food sometimes. And when you compare that to, like, decent chocolate, and maybe there's, like, a comparison at equal price points that shows that European chocolate at equal price points is better, but I think it's just that Americans don't want to spend money on chocolate. They expect candy to be really cheap, so then you make chocolate that is that cheap, and it tastes like garbage, and everybody's surprised. That's just a conspiracy theory, though. I have no idea. There's probably good American chocolatiers if they, like, try hard enough. It's probably just not going to be cheap. Yeah, regular stuff tastes waxy. Yeah, no, it's awful. It's not good. North American milk chocolate should be illegal. I do have a soft spot in the right quantities. I have a soft spot for white chocolate. I have overindulged, and I know it's not chocolate, don't get me started. But I have overindulged. I had some white chocolate, like, you know what it was? We went to Disney at one point, and I think it was my mom's birthday. It was somebody's birthday, and they had, like, sent a dessert to the room because it was a birthday, and it had, like, a white chocolate orb or a white chocolate Mickey or something, and it was huge, and it was a lot of white chocolate, and I ate all of it, and I should not have. I was allowed to. It wasn't like I stole the chocolate, but it was just way too much white chocolate. That put me off it for a while, but it's just a nice flavor, I think. Yeah, there goes the Hershey sponsorship. Yeah, I will, I mean, not Hershey's, but I will consider taking sponsorships when I feel like I'm caught up on the videos that I want to make. I don't want to spend my energy making videos for other people when I haven't even made the ones I want to make for me yet and for you guys yet. Like, if I'm in a rhythm and I'm caught up, then sure, I'll make some extra money, but I can't start doing other stuff when I haven't done all of my stuff. I got more stuff I want to do. Even to this day, at 29, I still break out in spots when I eat anything other than super dark chocolate, but chocolate oranges are so tasty. That's harsh. It's tragic. You're right, chocolate oranges are really good. I didn't have any this past Christmas. I think I meant to, and then I think I forgot. Is it too late? Is it too late? This is a bowl of hot sugar. You hear that? That's dry. Oh boy. I couldn't find any after Thanksgiving. Never too late for chocolate oranges. It's mostly a question of if it's too late to buy them. Patience. I like to think that I'm a patient person. Not because I'm good at waiting for things that I want, but because I don't want that many things that bad. I'm mostly pretty ambivalent about my life. You could add a little bit of water. I've done it before. I've done it before too. The world insists that I can just heat a pot of loose sugar and it will turn into caramel, and I am calling its bluff. Like, I just want to do it. I want to do it properly, you know? Give me my gear now. Patient meaning apathetic. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. You're not going to be super impatient for something that you could kind of go either way on. It's like, it's a feeling that is not too many steps from depression, but it's also not too many steps from enlightenment, so you can kind of get away with it. Probably worked out on this stream more than I have these past few days. I mean, I am currently melting sugar. I don't know if I get my exercise points, but I did do a little bit of exercise today. I'm trying to do just a little bit every day of upper body exercise. Just because I want to be a little bit stronger. I don't want to be a lot stronger. I don't want to be gym ripped. I just want to look like I wouldn't be broken by a strong hug. That's all. Also, it would be nice to be able to open all of my own jars. So I'm just doing like a little teeny tiny bit every day because that's the only thing I'll be able to actually keep up with every day. I'm not about to start like slamming protein shakes or anything, but I would like to be, you know, I want to be a tiny bit bigger, you know? So doesn't want to become Nomi. Slow down, caramel is to be savored. Yeah. Nothing makes you more patient than an old panda bear telling you to slow down. Oh man. WoW rep and currency has really been buffed for the dailies? Yep. And I was mad, but I'm not anymore because I realized I was doing the dailies anyways, and they don't really take that long. I got through them pretty quick. No one gets to open all their own jars unless they use a hammer. I was kind of excited when I bought that strap wrench that I was going to, after using it to remove my chair cylinder, also use it on jars around the house, because I remember having one as a kid. We kept it under our kitchen sink, and really stubborn jars would get the strap wrench. But we broke it. We actually snapped the strap trying to remove that stuck cylinder, so never mind then. I don't care enough to buy another one. Oh man. I just want Zandalari rep. Where's the Hazel Guide and why the Ivory Cloud Serpent eludes me? I just need a pretty dragon in my life. My favorite chocolate is Palmer chocolates. I don't know if I've heard of those ones. Panda told koala to slow down and no more koala, oh dear. I can relate. The type of thing where people ask me if I have an eating disorder, which is extremely rude, but you know, it happens. But I think in the grand scheme of things, lots of people ask rude things to lots of other people. People ask people who aren't pregnant if they're pregnant. People ask people, you know, lots of things that aren't really normal conversation, and it's just, you know, it's just life. It could be worse. I just want to be a little stronger. Like, I found that if I am doing some yoga stretching, because I'm trying to fit in a few minutes of stretching every day, just because I get really, like many people that spend time on computers, I get really crinkly and like up in my little crinkled dead spider ball. And it's helpful. Sometimes I'll forget to stretch out in any meaningful way, and all of my exercise will still be kind of tense. So taking a few minutes to like breathe and put on some music and do some stretching is very helpful. And when I'm doing that, I've noticed that if I'm like holding a plank position, like the pre-push-up position, not even doing a push-up yet, my arms are shaking real hard. And right now my goal is just to get to the point where I can hold that for like 10 seconds without starting to shake. And it feels like that's a way off because I am a beginner, but you know, baby steps. So let's see what this looks like. Well, let's see what this looks like. That's dry. Let's see what this looks like. So those are, they're not quite brown on top. Are they supposed to brown? They look done. Bake them for 15 to 20 minutes until the tops are golden brown. I'm gonna give them another like 3. Well, actually the edges are I'm gonna give them another 2. Maybe like 145. You ever do that? You ever like estimate how much more time something needs to like a really ridiculously specific increment that you obviously have no idea that it needs that specific amount of time? The extra 15 seconds probably wouldn't make a difference, but like you feel more in control. Sugar isn't getting hot enough? Well, I don't want to burn it. It said medium low, and I've done it on like a high medium low. I said all the numbers. I said all the things there. Maybe. Is age still considered a rude question? I think it is, but probably less rude than like weight-related questions or, heaven forbid, ethnicity-related questions. I don't know if many things are worse than the where are you really from? Not that I get that, but I've heard about it. It sounds awful. Yeah, I think age, specifically for women, is a little more stereotyped as a thing you shouldn't ask. I don't really mind, but then again, I'm under 30. I may start to mind once I'm older. I'm 27. I feel like I've been 27 forever. Am I sure that I'm not 28? Am I 28? What year is it? I'm going to be 28 this year, but at the end of this year. I'm 27 for now. Oh, man. Jigglyfly Joe, welcome. Hope you had a good stream. Any favorite candy or dessert? I'm not a big candy person because I like desserts so much, and if I had to choose, I will skip the candy and go straight for dessert. If I'm picking like a movie theater candy and it's gonna be candy, I like Fuzzy Peaches, but candy gives me mouth sores because I'm just a mess apparently. Like any like concentrated sugar, I find will give me sores in my mouth that hurt a lot, which really helps me not eat candy because it's really unpleasant. Super acidic stuff will do it too. I have a hard time with sweet and sour sauce. Okay, we're taking those out. And we're gonna put them on some cooling racks. Actually, we're gonna take them out and let them sit on the counter for a second. And then we're gonna de-rack them onto cooling racks soon. Those came up a little bit. They're not huge buns. They're bite-sized. They're really cute though. I'll show you more closely once they cool down a sec. I will turn this up a little bit. Because right now this is just hot sugar. I don't want to touch it because that's a mistake. Touching most hot things is a mistake, but sugar has the unique capacity of being able to get very hot and also sticky. So that not only is it burning you, but you can't get it off you, so don't touch hot sugar. I won't do that. It's a gigawatt, right? Oh man, let's say something. You have a cat and your black shirt has no cat hair. I wanted to be you when I grown up. Let me be real with you. I have lint rollers, and I discovered them like a year ago. And I will lint roller my shirt to make it look a little fresher because it does get cat hair and it gets lint on it and it gets dog hair on it. So if I'm wearing like a anything and I want to look a little cleaner, I just lint roll it off. Chipotle calls? Are you working on planking so you can meme plank in public? No, I just feel like it's good for my arms and my core, and those are both things that I want. I can't fathom directly asking that to someone if I don't know them very well. I need to try Sour Patch watermelons for sure. I don't know if I've had those. Hazel says this, and I remember eating lemon pepper seasoning as a kid. I was an odd egg, just like on its own, just like out of a spoon, because that's a new one. I can lint roll every 5 minutes. My black clothes still have my dog's hair on them. It's mostly for traveling when you're like, your clothes are all hairy, but you're going to be away from your pet for a few days and also around other people. So I'll bring one with me when I'm traveling so that I can have a few days of being less hairy. But I will do it before, if I remember. I just keep it in the bathroom drawer, so if I'm like putting my hair up for a stream or something like that, I'll do that real quick. Oh man, 4 cats, 3 dogs. I find certain materials allow for the hair to just drop off. Sweatpants, not so much. After a while, you just kind of stop seeing it, honestly. Like I don't, unless I'm like going out or like trying to look nice, I don't really worry about it. I don't feel bad about having hair in my clothes. You know, if you like pick up, heaven forbid you pick Joker up and you hold him, you are going to look like you were him. But it comes off eventually, you know, it's fine. One of the dogs is white. Yeah, he's got a white undercoat and he's shedding it right now. He's blowing out his coat. It's only January, dude. You're starting early. But it comes out of him in tufts. It's kind of like bubble wrap. You can just kind of like pull it out of him. He gets itchy. Oh man. So, yeah, okay. I'm removing these. Right now I'm just kind of picking them up with my fingers because I don't see why not. I don't really want to stab them with a fork or anything, and they're warm, but they're not that hot. I can do this and it's okay. So let me show you. This one's so cute. Ugh. This is the one that you take the picture of, and then you don't take pictures of the rest of them, but like, look at it, it's adorable. Ew. I mean, okay, so the camera lighting isn't doing it a huge favor, but I promise it's really cute. It smells good. They're kind of biscuity. For a yeasted cinnamon bun, they don't rise very much, do they? That could be on me. but I feel like they came out this way last time, and I also feel like the photo doesn't show them being that much bigger. Like, I feel like depending on the size of the plate, they're not that far off, right? Like, we're gonna still glaze them. Get the cat first, match your wardrobe to it. There's the strats right there. So this is still sugar. I don't know. I don't believe. I have no faith. I can just pick these up. I can just kind of extract them from their little cubbies. And then we're gonna have them cool off a little bit. You wanna glaze them while they're still somewhat warm. Also, maybe I should put some parchment or foil or something underneath this, because otherwise my counter is gonna be a real mess. Do I want to throw out the parchment though? I don't know. Maybe I'll just let my counter be a mess. I can wipe it up. This one is the not cute one. This is the one that you don't post the picture of. It's like the end one. It's kind of lumpy. It's definitely the fluffiest one. It definitely got more rise out of it. And it's just got like a little... I want to eat it right now, but it's really hot, so I'm going to let it sit. Most places I read say add melted butter in with the sugar. Just sugar? It says just sugar, and people have told me that it will work. And I'm with you. Normally, I'm the one adding something to it to get it started. I want to know. I want to prove to myself that I can surpass my limitations. I want to prove to myself that this isn't all I can be. 1 pot of dry sugar shall not conquer me. Unless it doesn't melt in the next 10 minutes, in which case I need to clean up and start getting ready for raid. At least if I'm going to eat before raid. I always don't give myself enough time because I'm like, raid's not till 7, I got loads of time, but then I end up just like last minute getting food on plates and slapping it on our desk before raid time. And while I can eat very quickly in the space of a fight explanation, or a Hazelnutty Games boss guide video, shameless plug, I don't think my husband can, so I feel like I'm starving him whenever I don't get food ready early enough for him to have some of it before raid time. Okay. And, you know, he's healing, so we really need him to be firing on all pistons. How did the first raid night go? We are 7 of 12. We were working on Il'gynoth, is the next one we're working on, and it didn't go great. We got really behind on bloods at the end, and that was a little tough. We'll get it next time, I'm sure. Oh man, it can work with just sugar. You gotta be really careful. It can burn really fast. Only one way to find out, blowtorch time. As a society, we just have to accept that we'll never get food to look as pretty as it does in cookbooks. At least we try. Well, the problem with that is that, like, there's people on Instagram that they're home cooks. There's like a new category of not quite professional, but more professional than amateur. And it's that middle level where it gives you hope that you should be able to do it because this person didn't go to culinary school, but they have a lot of equipment and practice and experience that they still have over you. It just gives you false hope that you're going to be able to make it like that cute. How long does your guild raid for? 3 hours a night, 2 nights a week. And I would prefer if it was 2. I think when we do Squirrel Squad raids, we're probably going to do 2 hours at a time, just like one good stream. I can't focus for a 3rd hour. I can't sit. I mean, I can, and I do, but I am not good in the 3rd hour. I get so antsy. Colorful sprinkles are the best sprinkles? Deodorant time. Lighter time? I don't have a blowtorch. I do have a lighter. I'm not going to use it on my sugar. The tentacles are strong in there. Makes me sad. I think I'm a pretty good cook. When it comes to making food look pretty, though, useless. I mean, on one hand, I used to be like, man, it's not about what it looks like, it's about what it tastes like. And while that is true, your visual perception of a thing can influence how you appreciate it. And if you don't believe that, just try eating ketchup that's the wrong color. It'll really mess with your brain. Or like those trick foods that look like one food but are actually another food. Like the way that you see it has a distinct influence on the way that your brain processes the information. So there is something to presentation, but it's also such an impossible standard. Especially when 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 there's like teams of people staging food using techniques that make it inedible. It's just not a thing that you can really live up to. Rank 3 purification protocol. Does it do big damage? Because I got rank 4 of it, and I was all excited because it was my first rank 4, but unless it got buffed, it wasn't very good for me before. Needs additional moisture, add a bit more butter or water. Well, there's no butter or water because the recipe said I didn't need it, and I'm trying to call its bluff. It says that it will melt. It says oh, hang on, something's happening. Oh, well, is it melting or is it just burning? Something's happening. You know what? To heck with it. I don't have time for this. If I had an hour, then I would just, like, play chicken with this sugar all day, but I'm just going to put the butter in now. We have a tablespoon of butter that's part of the recipe anyway, so I'm just going to drop this bad boy in. It's going to melt, and hopefully that gets it started because we don't got all day. No, I know. I just don't have time. It would be hilarious if this was a misprint in the cookbook. I mean, hilarious is a word. The miner's an AoE proc. It deals extra damage to aberrations. Oh, ooh, that's a good point. How big is your raid team? No idea. Not a clue. It changes, and it fluctuates throughout a tier. So more than 10. Probably less than 20. I don't know, though. We don't do mythics, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, man. The way those dark restaurants intrigue me, eating without seeing the food. I remember watching some Netflix thing that had, like, a chef in it. It was talking about different weird things that he did in his fancy restaurant in, like, the 80s. And there was one thing where he was, like, blindfolding customers with, like, kind of kinky-looking blindfolds so that they would eat the food blind. Which sounds like a really awkward thing to do on a date. Because, like, I managed to put food on my face and miss my mouth with the use of both of my eyes. I don't need help. Okay, well now I'm frying this brown sugar. Now my butter is like melting, but also sizzling. I'm just gonna keep stirring. If this doesn't make a good difference, I'm just gonna like get my hand wet and start like flinging water droplets at it with maximum amounts of sass and hope that that does something. It smells weird. It doesn't smell bad, but it doesn't smell like sugar. I don't know. Work with that butter or water. It's getting to start. Just takes a while. Add more butter. I mean, that's all the butter that's in the recipe. Yeah. Well, in the meantime, I'm gonna eat the weird one. Could use the glaze. A little dry. Laboratory burgers tonight. I've just got a new job offer. Congratulations. So exciting. Paladin style and add 10 sticks of butter. ASMR. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a mute switch handy with this setup. A spiritual brother of biscotti. I feel like you really want like a cup of tea or something with this. That's probably me. I probably made it in a way that made it a little dry. It's not like dry. There's like a crumb shot. Focus. There we go. It's really dark up there. You can't really see. It's got like, and then it's not the closedest crumb, but it's still a bit chewy. Huh. A little bit of chewy. Cinnamon. It's really chewy. It's not like too chewy, but it might be chewier than it should be. I did also have like a big bite of it. I am going to put icing on buns. got something to say about it? People eating on stream makes me hungry. Yeah, the icing is being a bit of a problem child over here. I think I'm gonna add a bit of water because I'm afraid I'm just gonna burn it. Oh my god. It's burbling. I made a burbling flesh piece. I don't like this process at all. There's no way I did this last time. I must have skipped this. It looks awful. It's just like spots of wet sugar and a bunch of dry sugar that smells like it may or may not be burning. It's way too hot. There's no way it's supposed to be that hot. Alright, well that was enough sugar at least. Or enough water. No, it made napalm. Oh, my camera went out again. You know how I have it plugged into two different power sources? One of them to power it, and then one of them just to make it think it's getting powered because it doesn't believe the first one. And it still does this to me. It's very rude. How did I fix this last time? I don't think it's... I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna taste it before I put it on the buns, so don't worry about that. That's not me. I mean, that is me, but that's not my favorite angle. Let's, there we go. I'm gonna add some milk and then try some, and then see how I feel about it. If it's gross, I just won't put it on. I'll do something else. Let's just, add some milk. Oh dear. I'm gonna keep stirring and hope everything gets better. It is improving. Don't splash. Gentle stirs. Did you add the vanilla? I think we might be beyond vanilla. I think vanilla might be an idea from better days. What does that taste like? It's good. It tastes like molasses almost. It tastes like molasses. You ever eaten molasses? Mixing up vanilla went straight into the burning crusade. It tastes good. Do it again, add more water. We ain't starting again. I'm gonna add the vanilla. We're gonna skip the flour because it's too late for that. I don't hate it. It's not gross. I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla. I don't think it's burnt. I think it's just that color because of the brown sugar. I feel like if it was burnt, you said it was going to taste really bad, and either I'm crazy or this isn't really bad. I don't want to eat too much of it because it's raw icing. Oh, that's actually tasty. Vanilla will mellow the flavor of the molasses taste. Yeah, that's really good. Molasses and brown sugar. Okay. Yeah, I'll spoon some of that on. I won't use a spoon. I'm not going to spoon on too much because it's really runny, which the other one was supposed to be too. This is not a very thick icing, so we're just going to do a little bit. I'm going to put them on a plate first because I think that's probably how I'm going to store them. I'm not individually wrapping these yet. So let me grab a plate. Let's see how many we can check on to a plate, or at least I'll put all the cute ones on. The ugly ones don't necessarily need icing. I'll do a big plate and then maybe a smaller plate. Do I have a container? Oh. Okay, I do. It's a very high shelf, don't worry about it. So, and then I can put the rest of these in the bottom, and then I'm just gonna like ice them directly in here. And are they gonna get some icing on their butts? Absolutely. Is that part of the process? Of course. Okay, so we're gonna grab a spoon. Actually, I can probably just use this spoon. And you're never gonna get a closer look, this is fine. I will just a little bit on each one. That's nice. I feel like it's got a nice dark rich color, and it's different. You're not used to it. You see a dark colored glaze and you're like, is that chocolate? And it speaks to you and it goes, nah, I'm not chocolate. I'm caramelized brown sugar. And I think it's kind of nice. It's a little drippy, but it tastes good. I'm going to have way too much of it. What do I do with the rest of this? I don't want to pour it all over the buns because that's just going to make them really soggy. This is really more of a garnish than anything else. I know they were a little dry before, but this is going to make them way too sweet if I like really soak them. So I don't think I use this for anything else. Ooh, it might be good on ice cream. I have like a little container. I think I could put it in the fridge. I wonder if it's going to congeal. It'll be an interesting science experiment. I feel like some of these could use a bit more. I shouldn't have eaten my test one before I did this because now I don't want to have another one because I just ate one. But also I didn't get to have it with icing. I guess I had the icing separately. That's probably good enough. Yeah, that's nice. That's good. Good job, she says to herself alone in her kitchen. Cool. Okay, let me show you what we did. Ta-da! Wow. Trying not to dump them in the sink. There we go. Oh man. Put leftovers in a container, use it as an oatmeal topping. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it. You're never alone if you have voices in your head. I did not add any cannabis to my pastries. Will it thicken as it cools? Excellent question. We'll find out. In the meantime, that does it for me. I got raid night coming up for myself. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon with a stream, and then tomorrow will be a revival vlog because I've missed like 2 or 3 of them. So we'll be catching up on the WoW news and Q&A with a YouTube video tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you all so much for coming. Check out my raid guides if you need raid guides for the new raid that is out now. And y'all are cute. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.